right, welcome back for another week of the Dark Figures podcast. We are here with our co-hosts. I am Ryan. I'm with my co-host Robert.
Hola, Robert.
Yeah, you say it. Might as well go with aloha.
I know, Ryan fucked it up. You're supposed to say hello. That's what I was waiting for. I was like,
Robert.
Ryan, you gonna say it? Dude, the second time wasn't the charm here, all right? Can we do a third?
Yeah. No.
Wait, let's get halfway through and then redo it again.
Yeah. You want to start it over? Huh?
Yeah, let's do it again.
All right.
Do it
Ready?
again.
And
Go.
action. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Dark Figures podcast. I'm your co-host, Ryan. I'm here with my co-host, Robert. Say hello, Robert.
Hello, Robert!
Hola, Robert. Fuck you, Scott.
That was good.
That was supposed to be third time's a charm.
I love it.
God damn. Anyway.
We are here for episode 18. Thanks for tuning in. And for those of you who have been following us on our YouTube, our Facebook, all of our social medias, thank you. And if you haven't already, hit that like, subscribe, follow button, and hit that notification bell so you can see and hear when we put out new content, new videos, and you're on top of it right along with us. And this week, our special guests, we have Mr. Ron Crockett and Jeff Stewart. Welcome to the podcast, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Hello.
How you guys like
doing?
deja vu, doesn't
Yes.
it?
Haven't we done this
A lot
before?
of deja vu going on.
Don't
today.
drive
Very
angry.
recently, too, I feel, too.
Feels like 5 minutes ago.
Right. You guys doing good?
Yeah, you guys are from the Bay Area,
Yes.
so from Oakland, from Fremont.
Correct.
Okay, and you guys have been around from the 80s scene. You guys got to hear and see the upbringing of some of the artists that we listen to today and
True.
appreciate.
Absolutely.
And you are a part of that scene.
Some big
Yeah.
names.
Absolutely. So, and you guys, you have such a rich history in your upbringing in music, and you got to be around in that time frame of listening to what we now consider classics, I guess, right?
Correct.
Which sucks when you hear something, you're like, what? That's a classic now?
Well,
Yeah.
But
the classics are still better than the new shit.
well, they
Very
were
true.
pioneers, right? And you guys were part of that era. I mean, with your upbringing, Robert mentioned you were into like computers and stuff like that
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And so what?
He still is.
Yeah, you still are, right?
Yeah, that's still how I make my living is
Yeah.
I deal with the internet and computers and things like that. This was pre-internet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that
Skynet,
happen.
how's Skynet working
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now?
How's Skynet?
How's that coming along?
Well,
how's that working right now?
Terminator.
you can ask me about
Terminator.
you can ask me about my time spent out in the desert working with Apple some other time, and I can tell you some
Oh,
stories.
don't get Mike started on Apple.
Yeah. No, I could tell you some stories. Okay, I'll tell you a quick one. Right? So, walk in there with the recruiter the very first day with like 6 other engineers, right? And we're going to put cable in this kind of other. And there's a time capsule on the floor. I go, time capsule. So it's not supposed to be open for another 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. So what's in there? Like a lock of Steve Jobs' hair? You could hear a pin drop in that room. So yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Too soon?
Too soon?
Yeah, but I was there for a few months, and it was kind of like late night. It was
Yeah.
really cold, and when you get inside and work on there, it was kind of creepy. They take photographs of your eyes, your blood vessels of your eyes,
Yeah.
and they map that to your thumbprint, your biometrics, and your key card.
Yeah.
No kidding.
They're going to
Yeah.
tie it to dinosaurs now, too.
Man, I wouldn't doubt it. Every square
doubt
inch, yeah,
That
for
sounds
like
like
miles.
Santa Rita Jill.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it does. Just acres and acres of machines every square inch.
No kidding.
Yeah. And
Any T-1000s?
we make jokes about that all the time. It was either that or the movie The Thing, because it was
Oh,
cold and we're all
yeah.
wearing our PPE gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all looking at each other going, you guys ever see that movie The Thing? Because all you can see is just
Didn't
the
they
lights and the
redo
ropes.
that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
The Kurt Russell one's the best.
classic.
John
Yeah.
Carpenter?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's
I
by
love
far
that.
the
That's the
best.
only one.
Easy.
Yeah. Really good movie.
Oh, God, yeah.
We made a new law that we just stop remaking good movies.
I'm good with
And then
that.
they
Like Poltergeist was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
They remade that?
remake.
Why?
Yeah.
I heard they're
Okay.
remaking The Exorcist.
No, they did Blade Runner, too, and they fucked that thing up.
Well, no,
Yeah.
they
I
did
kinda
an
liked it.
extension of Blade Runner. It
Yeah.
was a sequel.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
basically, 30, 40 years after the fact.
I don't like that fucking, who's that Gosling guy?
Oh, Ryan Gosling.
I just liked it because he had a, hologram wife. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And she made him
She was
dinner and
smoking
shit.
hot.
She was
Oh,
hot.
yeah.
All right.
I googled the actress after.
Did you? Yeah.
Just to see,
Sure. You
Yeah,
did.
just to see who it was.
Right.
Naked pictures of
Does she have an
hologram woman.
OnlyFans?
I would have gave her my CP3. Hello.
It's just my R2.
That's my R2D2.
Plug and play software.
So when it came to your guys' upbringing in terms of music, I mean, did it start early off for you guys, or was it something that kind of came later, you fell into, and then just history came after?
Yeah, did you guys
or?
get the bug early on, and then
Yeah, I did.
started? Well, it was like a big gap before you actually even like, oh, maybe I'll play music. So you're like,
It was one of those things where when you first heard it, you knew it was like you had Hee Haw and you had Lawrence Welk and stuff like that. So you had certain types of music that your parents would allow you to hear.
Right.
Right. And then you would hear stuff that your friends would have.
right,
You know, and for me it was NIB, the intro with Geezer Butler and Black Sabbath.
oh yeah,
So it was instantly hooked.
right.
And for me it wasn't guitar, it was bass. And then from there, Lemmy, Kilmeister, Cliff
Yeah.
Burton.
Oh hell yeah.
The greats.
And for me, like growing up, my mom was into the, 60s.
I do tech support.
Yeah. So,
So
what was it?
My
for you?
mother had records. Like she had the Doors first album. She had Nat King Cole. She had
So it wasn't like the
Elvis
Carpenters.
Presley. She had Easy Rider soundtrack.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Woodstock. Those two and Iron Butterfly and Agata Davida.
Oh.
So I'm this. She's all, don't listen to those.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
all,
What?
"Ugh."
You can't
and
do
I was
that.
into Kiss.
Yeah.
At the time,
Right.
like a little kid into Kiss.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who these other bands, like I didn't know Jimi Hendrix if 6 was 9. Never heard that stuff, and it was so mind blowing.
Yeah.
And I heard the Woodstock shit, and I was like, give me an F,
Yeah.
give me a U,
Yeah.
what's that spell? Fuck, right?
Yeah.
And I actually use that live a lot, and
Oh,
it
it's just-
works.
yeah.
It
Well, yeah.
really works.
So yeah, it was just the live recordings of it.
Yeah, it was Woodstock
On vinyl.
but it was offensive to a lot of people. So I'm all, I need more of that.
Right. And when was that? I mean,
That was like probably I was
Could be
8
early
years old.
70s.
Yeah.
8 years old.
Yeah.
I wasn't even. I was into Kiss.
right.
Like I had a Destroyer.
And that's not offensive.
Yeah, no, but it was.
Love gun. He's
It was
talking
ac-
about a gun, man.
It was actually Kiss
Talking about
Alive.
a dick.
Kiss,
Grandma used to say it was acid rock back in the day.
Acid rock.
right.
Yeah.
You listen
That's
to
what-
that, you're
right.
gonna be shooting
Well, that's
drugs.
what's funny
They
is
weren't even
because
doing
That's
acid.
right.
that's what's funny
That's
is
what they
because
used to
later
call
when
it,
I got into
acid
Led
rock,
Zeppelin,
right.
I
Yeah.
would listen to Dazed and Confused, and my mom's all, "That's
Yeah.
acid rock."
Hell
Mom.
yeah.
What do you mean, Iron Butterfly?
Yeah, it didn't have heavy metal.
Right, right.
There wasn't a name for it.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It
That's
has
just
been-
what
But
they
then,
called it.
and-
We didn't have
but
a name
in junior
for it.
high, I discovered we sold our soul for rock and roll.
Right.
Black Sabbath.
See, that's
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
that was
the shit
the album
would
that-
scare the
yeah.
shit out of me.
Right.
The end of Children of the Grave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was like my first Sabbath encounter. I'm a holy.
Yeah, it was like how
And it was
yeah.
heavy. What is this?
See?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
like watching a
You know,
horror
and then
movie.
Van
Yeah.
Halen, AC/DC,
Yeah.
and then I'm
all those that proceeded.
And then I
yeah.
got in a band,
Right.
That's how that all started.
And then it progressed from there.
Yeah.
So all that stuff to me is near and dear to me.
Right.
To the Beatles,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stones, all that shit, because of my mom had
Yeah.
all those records.
Yeah, right.
So that's how I started.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
it's crazy because nowadays, like the access to new music is so much more broad and available to kids nowadays.
But we
right?
still
That's
we
a
had
beautiful
we still
thing,
had
and
access. We still
you had access,
to
but
that
it was a
stuff, too.
different way of finding it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
One
Right.
person would hear it from somebody, and it was like word of mouth
Yeah.
traveling
Right.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had radio stations, but some of them, even back then, were still contemplating whether or not to play music.
Well,
like
they were
Black
also
Sabbath.
playing the same
Right.
shit over and over.
Well,
again.
yeah,
But-
but they were playing what was widely accepted, you
Right,
know, and that's
yeah, yeah.
kind of what still is happening nowadays.
Oh
right?
yeah, 100%.
You hear
That's why we have Five Finger Death Punch.
right. Well, that's why we got Nickelback.
Yeah.
Right?
But and it's funny because like you guys talk about how you had that friend that brought that record over, or you went to their house and you're
Yeah.
listening to it, and that's something.
I love that. Though.
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
something
Right.
that,
Yeah.
and you have a physical copy of something. And
Yeah.
that's something that's almost long lost.
And
at this
that's
point.
sad
Yeah.
because that was the best.
Well,
thing
I
ever.
had
That's
Kiss
fun.
Alive 1, and I had this friend that was a Christian. I was in 6th grade
Yeah.
at the time, and my friend played drums, and he's all, I know this guitar player down the street. I'm like, okay, but his family was totally Christians.
Yeah.
So I would have to sneak in the Kiss records, and he would learn the shit for me. And I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
In 6th grade, and then I ended up buying
Would
a
you guys
Jim-
have the volume very low or?
No, he just we were just really smart. You know, the parents didn't know, but he was like jamming and like I'd bring back all
find
this
a way.
shit, AC/DC, and he would learn all this stuff for me. And then I ended up getting in a band after that, and he thought I was the devil because
really?
We were all into Spikes and stuff at the time in the 80s. But he's the one that like really taught me, guitar before I started taking lessons from Lyle Workman. So he was the main dude that got me influenced, and I didn't start playing guitar till I was 14, like seriously. I knew about it. I would sit in my room and do tremolo picking, but I didn't know how to play a song or nothing.
No.
So
and it wasn't like you had there was tab books though, right? Like,
didn't have any of that. I would learn from records.
It's just
you
listening
had to
to
learn
it.
from
You were
records.
listening
By ear.
and-
That's how he learned it. He'd learn it off the
Pick
record.
it up, drop the needle again.
Bring it back.
pick it up,
and,
drop the needle
Really?
again.
Kiss
So you
Alive
had to,
1,
like,
the whole album.
you had to
dude.
give yourself
by ear.
Yeah.
I'm all, how's he doing that?
Wow.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
You'd
how to
wear
do
a record
barcode
out.
at the time.
Yeah.
You'd have to go buy a couple different copies of the record if you were going to figure something
That
out.
needles.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
yeah.
then like a couple years later, I met this band, Nasty Habits, who played at my high school, American high school, and then they were playing Sin City by AC/DC. I'm all, holy fuck, these guys are amazing.
Right,
And I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I'd be walking home from school, and they were older. They were like 19, dude. They were like seniors in high school,
Yeah.
and I was just a freshman.
Right.
So I'm walking by their house, and they're playing "What Do You Do for Money, Honey?" Like Back in Black just came out.
Yeah.
And I'm all, wow, that's
Yeah, right,
amazing.
yeah.
Then eventually the singer picked me up from school, and he's listening to Ozzy. Like 81, came out.
There's a magic to it.
Blizzard
man.
of Oz.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then he's
yeah.
all, you
Love
play
that
guitar? I'm all, yeah. And then I got in the band. The older guys didn't want me in the band.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I was young.
Right.
Yeah.
Green as fuck. I didn't know what was going on. And then from there on, we'd play this place called the Danville Stage in Danville. And that's where a band called Rampage would play. And that was Chuck Billy's band.
Oh shit.
And Steve Rebello from Trauma. Who's in, they
DDP,
just got signed
Dublin
to
Death
Massacre
Patrol.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
Records.
that's right. Yeah.
Dublin Death Patrol and all those guys. And that's
Yeah.
where Demel and all those guys and then
Phil, yeah.
Dublin
Perry
High School.
Strickland, Ben Avery. But this guy Ben Avery that we knew introduced me to all of them later. But these guys in Rampage would be like, "Hey, dude, like you look like Tony Iommi," because I was left-handed.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be Tony Iommi. I wanted to be Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck you! I
Yeah.
don't want
Fuck
to be
you, man.
I'm not Tony
Yeah.
Iommi. I'm 15, 14 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
And they're like, I didn't know who these guys were.
Right.
They're just fucking with me from the get-go, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up, we did house parties all the time. And,
Right.
and then my friend Jim Pittman, who was in Forbidden Evil, he would come to our house parties. He wasn't in the band yet. Like, they didn't form it yet with Rob Flynn. They would, he would come to parties and be like, yeah, play Crazy Train, shit
Yeah.
like that was popular.
Right.
So we'd, I'd play the little riff or whatever. And then we became friends. And the singer for our band at the time, his brother was in college, and he would send us a mixed tape.
Yeah.
And it was Venom,
Oh yeah.
Angel Witch,
Oh shit.
Holocaust.
That's how you
Yeah.
got
Raven.
everything, just on unmarked
So that's how-
Maxell
yeah.
tapes with all
And
this
nobody
shit
knew
written
about
on
that
them.
shit.
Right.
Yeah,
Nobody knew about that shit.
Yeah, it was all
At all.
bootlegged underground stuff. That
Yeah.
was
No kidding.
So I had this tape.
Yeah.
I call it the Holocaust tape. Because it had
Holocaust,
Death or Glory,
yeah.
had
Right,
Welcome
right.
to Hell,
Damn.
had Angel Witch, Angel of Death, all this heavy shit. I'm all, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The hardest
So I
thing,
bring it
you
to
know.
school. I'm all, hey, you heard this stuff?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
Jim Pittman, he's all, what's that?
right.
So I turned everybody on to that new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah.
And then he was friends with Rob Flynn. I didn't really know him at the time.
Yeah.
And he's all, I'm jamming with this guitar player, and he would turn him on to like all these bands. And then eventually me and Rob became friends after I graduated, or actually after I got kicked out of high school. So I was a rebellion.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't finish high school.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the Cow Palace one day,
Right,
that was
yeah,
my
yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
So I'm playing in these clubs at 14, 15.
Right. You had an opportunity on like
Had
some-
no clue like what life was.
Right.
Yeah.
No one taught me nothing,
Yeah, Rob. Yeah, you were. They just mentioned you on Rob Flynn's podcast last week.
Yes. Yeah, Craig LeCicero and Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to play with MXR Distortion Plus and a Super Overdrive. And they both bought those same pedals.
No shit.
Yeah, like Rob first, and then Rob's all, dude, you got to buy these. Yeah. So they had those for 86 is when they started jamming in our studio. So they were like, like totally influenced. I mean, they were amazing. I would never tell them that though.
Right? Yeah.
You know, well, you guys are killer.
We'll edit that out.
But I mean, I'd get them shows. They would open for us. And, And then,
so it was like a trade-off too with like all the bands and stuff. So you guys would like play shows and these house parties and stuff. You'd be like, "Hey, we got this going on. You want to get on this?" Or
that's how it works.
That's how it was back then.
Well, I tried to help them out too because they were like my little brothers. You know, like, I'm all, hey,
the brothers
and then they
and
had
sisters.
Russ. Like he was older. He was like my age. So me and Russ Anderson like hit it off because we were like,
right on.
You know, we buy us beer and we became really good friends, and we actually have an old audio of us doing a like Wrathchild and 22 Acacia Avenue with Russ.
Oh yeah,
with Annihilation.
Oh shit,
and it's fucking sick, dude. You know, he was like he can emulate any singer you could think of.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll do King Diamond and do it in a heartbeat or Halford or Dio or whatnot.
Yeah, Russ Anderson's an amazing talent.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Ron? What was was yours kind of similar in terms of the way you kind of melded into music?
Well, you know, what happened was my father passed away, and my mom had two boys at a lot of free time on their hands as teenagers. And my brother's guitar teacher at the time was doing this style of music, and they were a band out of Fresno, Sanger. And so she figured it was better for us to spend time around them rather than be on the streets.
Right.
And so, you know, like the first show was probably like YNT opening for Night Ranger, right, at Selland Arena.
Yeah.
But the next week, I saw St. Vitus.
No shit.
Which was like a completely different kind of band where it was instead of this huge production, you had just like 3 or 4 guys. And it was so loud. And the Black Sabbath influence was so heavy.
Yeah.
It was like I said, just maybe weeks before I had heard, you know, NIB for the first time. So there I was, like with my head in the speaker bin. Couldn't hear for like 4 days when I got back to school, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I don't, you know, always doing nerdy stuff like that, computers and things like that early on, but always the bass or heavy music, you know, would always just pull you in. You know, as far as like the tape trading, that even all as far flung out as the Central Valley, you would get like mixtapes from your friends, you know, and you would make those pilgrimages like every weekend.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just the distance, like when those tapes will go.
Yeah.
Like, and then later on you would hear like, you know, Napalm, Death Scum, you'd hear Sepultura, you hear them all on the same tape. And what you would do is you'd go to these shows, you'd see like Death Angel, Forbidden, or you know, and you would take like 4 or 5 of Maxell blank tapes. Everybody would, and you take like $10 or $20. And you take a list of the stuff that you had, and you would trade with people.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's like trading cards, man. That's cool.
It's like, and you traded information,
it was
music,
the internet at the time. Basically.
Yeah, organically.
Right.
You know, at the same time, like when you're doing this, you had these really amazing characters that like lived in the Bay Area, right? The infamous Pim Fillmore Slim. Walking by, you boys want to buy a watch?
You know? What do you have, a trench coat on? He's like,
you told exactly like that. He straight rolled up with a really underage girl or whatever, and we're all underage, drinking, smoking weed, and loading gear in and out.
Like, I'm glad they're just watches.
He just walks up and he's all, "You boys want to buy a watch?"
Well, and what's funny about that is the guys we would hang out when I was in Deep Freeze were Andy Anderson, who's Andy Airborne Anderson, Don Crowitz, and Rick Straw, and all these guys. They were these headbanger dudes, right? And if they didn't like you, they would turn their backs on you, and they'd come to our rehearsals. They're all, "That's gay. Don't play that shit. Like, play something heavier and change the name of your band. That's stupid."
Right.
So we were Deep Freeze at the time. So one of the headbangers, Don Crowitz, was a really good friend of mine that lived in Oakland, who was really close to Andy Anderson. And he's all like, "How about Fourth Reich?" We're like, "Oh my God, that's the heaviest name ever." We had no idea what it meant.
Right.
But then we researched it and like, holy shit, that's like the last Reich.
Right.
Because you had the first Reich was Mussolini.
Right.
Second Reich was Napoleon, and then Hitler. So then we were Fourth Reich. And then Queen's Reich came out. I'm all, blowing it. You know, like, you know, always happened to us. And then we were recording our first demo in '85 in Oakland with Jeffrey Holt, who did Satriani's first EP.
Okay.
And he's all, here's this guy Satriani. You guys want one? They're like worth $500
I know.
now.
I keep talking about these.
Like,
I wish you guys still had all these,
kept
dude.
it,
like,
you know. And so it was just all guitar though, and like no drums, nothing.
Yeah.
So he gave us one of those, and then we're like, holy shit! This, I mean, I forgot what I was talking about.
Well, sometimes like in the Bay Area, right? You would have waves of bands, right? And what happens is you have sister bands. So out of like maybe 5 or 6 bands, 1 or 2 may like so-called break it, out of the scene, right? So you would have these support groups that spring up around it. So like when you had radio stations that were turning their blind eye to these things like that, you had actually radio DJs like Ron Quintana, that were doing amazing work. Like that's how we heard of it. These guys would get it, they would play it, people would tape it and dub it, and then by the time you got it,
it's like, you're all, I got this. You
exactly. He goes, I got Venom, live at like in like Germany or something like that, or like Spain or something. Shit. Yeah, and it was just crappy quality, but the idea.
Right.
And then later on, even when you had like the inkling of the internet, you would have like all the bands that would come out of like, Sweden or Italy and things like that. And then also you had the wave of, like I said, the new wave of British heavy metal. Right. Yeah. So it was always there.
Yeah.
And we would plunder from it. They would plunder back. And then again, you had the German thrash bands. You had bands, even Arch Enemy, all that stuff now.
Yeah.
And it all harkens back to that. So if you would say to a 52-year-old dude like me, that this stuff would be relevant to what you were listening to at the age of 14, 15 years old,
you'd be like, no fucking
way.
Yeah.
People wearing jean jackets, white leather high tops, and
they're doing that now.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
And he would have you come guest DJ on there. So we used to go on there and guest DJ, and we just get obliterated, dude. Hella drugs, hella alcohol. Yeah. And he's all like, you'd be the DJ and you'd be playing the music.
What you wanted to play.
Whatever the hell you want.
Oh my God, dude. Open
floor
too.
From Metallica.
Amazing.
Like,
they were all on there.
All on there.
Really?
Yeah. And you would try to get this radio station in your room as a kid, and
you're
using a guitar string,
your fucking
guitar string or whatever, and then you're like and record
tin foil on the antennas,
just so you would have Merciful Fate's demo or before they even had a record out.
There's a band.
So the main demo I had was the Metallica one with Mustaine. So he would have No Remorse on there, and like, oh my God, this was so heavy.
Right.
Compared to the album, his vocals were like insane, So he would have stuff like that, or Yngwie, or the old demos. I know.
Don't get me going.
But it was really huge at the time. They were really huge. That was a huge demo.
Yeah, his head's just as huge.
Well, nobody knew
I got an
about that
story for you, but that's okay.
Nobody knew
because
he was still in Sweden at the time.
Oh yeah, Sweden.
Yeah. He didn't come over to LA.
He was just playing in Alcatraz. He was just a skinny kid. I mean, he could totally shred.
Well, actually, Mike Varney brought him over.
Actually, that's right.
I'm not dissing on his talent.
Another person to bring up that's really important, right? Is a pool of talent that he still produces. Mike Varney.
Yeah.
And Shrapnel Records cannot be like understated. That the amazing amount of guitar playing ability. Like, I mean, you got guys that can play like country rock, like Michael Lee Firkins. It's just, and then you have like just straight shredders. Marty Friedman,
right? Lyle Workman was on US Metal 3 or US Metal 1.
So US Metal were these compilations that they would put out.
The best guitar players on there.
Metal 1 was like compilations.
Yeah.
So Metal Blade
unknown guitar players.
Yeah.
So my guitar teacher was on that first one, Code 3.
Vinnie Moore from Vicious Rivers.
Just
monsters, dude.
Holy shit. Taught me that.
And you had metal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They had that, and then you had Metal Blade Records, right?
Right.
So you had the Metal Massacre compilations.
Yeah.
And then you would hear like Metallica, you would hear Possessed, or you would hear like Slayer.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but the other underground stuff with just off the chain composition would always be the Shrapnel guys.
I mean, there's some really great guitar playing on those albums if you really dive into those.
Yeah.
They're all on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like you go on YouTube and you can but they were like the best, but nobody even heard of Marty Friedman at the time. He was in a band called Hawaii.
Yeah.
Oh, so this was before Megadeth and
Cacophony. It was just way before that.
It's like 81.
He's the reason why. He's really one of the reasons why I picked up guitar. He's
one of my favorites.
I love. Yeah, dude, that guy's awesome.
Great talent. Man. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like when you talk about, you guys are around this era, and especially in the Bay Area where there was so much music coming out,
unreal.
These big names. There's
a melting pot.
Yeah, I mean,
it still is.
Yeah, it's still to this day.
It still is.
I mean, we talk about how much the growth is happening in the Reno Sparks area.
There's a lot of
music that's coming out of here too.
Yeah,
but you got to think, you guys were in an era where you were feeling the same thing, but in a way that was going to be impactful for music to come to this day.
I had no idea.
And had no clue.
Yeah, you didn't see it that way.
We're just trying to stay in time.
But
stay in time, stay in tune, right?
Right, and when you discover new artists, like when you get these compilations, the metal ones, and all these, the tapes going back and forth with people, you're having this excitement of growing and going, holy shit, who is that? Who is that? Who is that?
Yeah.
And you just are constantly taking in and ingesting this music that you've never heard before. Yeah. And later, in life, you come to find out, like, fuck, I knew those guys. Or I used to walk by when they were playing at bars, or, whatever the case may be.
I know what's funny about that album. A couple of those out. Like, Chuck Billy was in a band called Guilt. Mm-hmm. And they were total posers, man. They were Danny Gill, he was like phenomenal
guitar player. There's
he was like
one.
Dude, he'd play all the, shredding solos, dude. Mm-hmm. And then Chuck Billy eventually got on one of those albums and sang. That was the first time he ever was involved with that music.
No shit.
Yeah. And then Testament, Legacy, which is the best demo ever.
Yeah, that is like an amazing demo. If you ever get to find a copy of it.
Well, that's what trips me out about those demos, is because you guys were learning the guitars off of these demos, right?
Right.
My brother was intrigued by it, for sure.
The sound wasn't like, I was like, how are you guys picking that shit apart?
It was
still
hard.
blowing my mind.
It was hard, trying to figure out a Merciful Fate riff.
Yeah, because you got everything going on. It's not like you could separate, like, I just want the guitar.
Yeah. You can't just loop it.
No, Right, there wasn't a loop button or anything.
Like, rewind.
Right, rewind off his own tape. Yeah,
or somebody else would learn it, and you're like, okay, that's close, but I don't think that's right.
And then I'll figure,
right. But that's another thing, is there was this aspect of like everybody was trading not just the music back and forth; they were trading ideas and licks.
Right.
Like a lot, like some people would go, they would get instruction, but a lot of
stealing shit from each other.
Yeah,
what they were doing.
Well, in a way,
what's copyright?
Well, in a way, though, it's. I mean, it's almost like the comedians nowadays, where they talk about them stealing jokes and stuff.
Right.
But like they'll reformat it to where it's not exactly what they said, but they're all talking about the same category.
Intellectual
inspiration.
And
totally,
and it's not stealing, because we go back to this all the time. Like this is always stealing from, like, everybody's stealing. Yeah. This shit's like, there's always been something that formed from something else. From something.
Well, Richie Blackmore, like he used to say.
Well, there's a musician, man.
Yeah.
There's just like a monster guitar player, but not only that, how he's able to hold his organization to as long as he has, And
I mean, I would go and watch guitar players and go, oh, that's a cool riff, and then go home and like rework it to where it's like my riff.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, not really stealing, but inspirational, like Scott said.
Right.
So your influence.
Yeah, you're changing the pattern.
Yeah. I mean, I did that all the time with Hetfield, and then there was this guy, Doug Piercy. I got to mention, he was in Anvil Chorus.
Yeah.
And I'd go watch him like 3 times a week.
You would go watch just so you could figure it out.
Yeah.
You would go pay the money just to watch him.
How are they
doing that?
And
then I got to know him later, and I'm all, where'd you learn all that? And he's all Scorpions, UFO.
Yeah, so he did the same thing.
Michael Schenker. That I learned.
Yeah.
Michael Schenker.
There's a domino effect.
Right. Yeah. Nowadays, if you want to learn a song, I mean, most songs, you just go on YouTube. You got people who have learned it, or the
people that are playing it, they're putting it.
Yeah, they put out the sheets or the tabs and something like that. So, I mean, you guys, you grew up in an era where learning to play music was strictly, especially that type of music was
only for the dedicated.
On your own.
That's something only for the dedicated.
Right.
Yeah, you had to really, really, really love it. You know what, being that you wanted to not only listen to the music, you wanted to participate. At that point, you wanted to raise the bar yourself.
Right.
But the great thing about it was, when you're in that pursuit, your friends around you, they're in the same pursuit.
Yeah.
As long as you're not on the stage, because then it's total adversarial. But after that, you're like, you just got in your rage for them,
Yeah.
It's all about your brothers and your sisters.
Right.
It's really a musician or fan.
Yeah.
And that has never changed.
No, that's still the same today.
Yeah, and that's really, really a special and amazing thing.
Every musician starts as a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line.
I'm still a fan.
Always a fan.
I'm more of a fan than a musician.
Oh, I agree.
And a lot of these dudes okay, I'm a musician, but I mean, I listen to everything, you know, from Alan Holdsworth to I have a mood. It's a mood thing, you know. I don't want to eat spaghetti every night.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so if I'm playing metal, I'll go home and listen to something that's more, you know, like Alan Holdsworth or Al Di Meola or Cranium or whatever, you know, something different.
John McLaughlin
or something mellow,
Journey
or whatever. You know, so. That's where I come from. And that's from my guitar teacher. He's all, you need to learn every style there is.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, because you think about it, when it comes to other music, you're going to draw something from somewhere. Right? You know, whether it's a little lick or a twang or
the way they stand on stage.
Or the way you present yourself.
Right. Exactly.
You know, you can get some great performance from people who play country, from people who play rock and roll, metal, you name it. I mean, you're going to find something that you pull from.
Right.
And, you know, early on in your guys', you know, growing up in music and stuff like that, who would you say was somebody that you really drew a lot of inspiration, you know, in terms of the way you play or the way
Frank Zappa.
Larry Graham.
I saw him on
Larry Graham.
Larry Graham.
Yeah. Graham Central Station.
Man. I mean, and that's the beauty, right? Because everybody has that person that you first heard or whatever. And it's funny because, you know, just like you with the band playing in your high school, that was kind of my inspiration too. You know, I went to a middle school and had a bunch of friends that were just going up there to play the White Stripes, Seven Nation Army. Super simple song, but to see them do it in front of everybody, phenomenal. It's something that changes your life.
It's a magic that happens.
Yeah. And and for you guys got to see bands like Queensryche, Metallica, and all these bands come up and be like, those guys are gonna fucking be something. Those guys are badass. And
well, we didn't know that. See, that's the thing is don't underestimate the bands that you see now, because you're gonna be thinking you're gonna be in our seat very, very soon. Right. But the idea being that those influences that they're gonna carry through, and we didn't know at the time who was going to do what. We weren't concerned with that. We just knew what we liked.
Right. Yeah.
You just knew what you liked, and that's what you stuck with it.
Right. Like I always go back to Kill 'Em All. You know, like the new stuff's cool and all, but like that album, I learned every note off that album. You know, so I'm like, okay, you know, that's. Yeah. I'm always going to listen to that record. Always.
Right.
You know,
you get that same kind of feeling, you know, when you put it on. You know.
Right.
It takes you back. Like, you're not exactly the same old kid.
No,
you can't be.
But it's that nostalgia that takes you back to those memories,
correct.
You know, learning and that you know, that feeling you had when you were inspired to write music, play music, and all that, and that just takes you right there.
I didn't have that though, because I was spoiled. So like with my dad being in the band,
like an alien.
With my dad being in the band, it was like music every day. It was like So it was just like, all right, we're gonna play some Judas Priest or. You know, some Ozzy. And I was like, all right, well, this is just the norm. So so I didn't have that.
Must have been actually kind of cool.
Show. I didn't have that like first going into the show and be like, oh, this is amazing. You know, like I want to do this. It was just like, all right, well, this is what we do. Like,
well, you had a close. You know, your dad was a drummer, a musician already. Yeah. You know, and like from my upbringing, my uncle was a guitar player, but I never heard him play.
We didn't have any musicians. Like I had
family or
uncles or cousins or something like that, but we didn't have anybody in the immediate family that played. Really,
so it's like
just my brother.
It hits you a different way when you find somebody.
That's where I wanted to get to. Is I think it hits you a different way.
Yeah. See, I had an uncle that was a folk guitar player, and he was like this hippie dude.
Yeah.
And he would show me these chords. I'm all like, what the fuck is that? How did he do that?
Yeah, when somebody shows you something.
That's how I eventually got into music, was through him. And my aunt played piano, and she'd be like slapping my hand to play chords.
Yeah. That ruler out, that wooden ruler.
Nobody's even watching, right?
You're like, there's no audience here.
Learning
What the
a C minor major chord, you know, and I didn't even know.
I'm playing Twinkle Twinkle. Leave me alone here.
Right?
And I'm rocking it. Let me have it.
Yeah. But nobody in my family was musical. Just my aunts, uncles.
Yeah. And you know, and when you are, and just like what you were saying, is like it was the norm for you.
Yeah, it was just the norm.
You know, so
and it wasn't just my dad; it was the whole entire family. Like,
oh, sorry for following you guys' studio.
You don't want to necessarily go to the point where you're like, oh, I was kind of bored of music, but you were in it so often that when you heard other bands, you had something to draw from. Like, oh, well, I know somebody who can play. I watch them all the time, and that's good. Or did you ever have that?
No, mostly it was like, fuck, I could play that with my eyes closed. Like,
came out of the womb with sticks.
Yeah. I was like, dude, this is.
But that's a great thing. I mean, that's why I was always intrigued by generational players like that.
Yeah.
Because like the level of athlete that you have to be to play this form of music.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And to keep doing it, like, no offense, at our age, that's another achievement that
Oh,
most people.
yeah.
You know, like you go show that to like your orthopedic surgeon or something like, yeah, I do this.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no wonder I have to repair both your kneecaps.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, see, I was a skateboarder too, so it was like the same thing. So it's like,
yeah,
falling apart.
I'm gonna be fucking
the bionic man.
By the time you hit 40.
I'm hoping they have those like suits that just wrap around you. You look like RoboCop running.
Oh, the Exo suit.
Yeah,
I'd fucking love
Hey,
that.
check out like Boston
Exosuits,
Dynamics
exosuits.
DARPA. We can do a whole show on that.
Yeah.
When it comes to you guys playing music in the Bay Area and learning all there, what brought you guys to Reno, or what is it about? Because you live here now, yeah.
Yeah, I've been here 27 years.
And Ron just moved.
And then
Ron
you
moved
just
back.
moved back.
I moved here, to take a job.
What brought you guys to Reno?
Just get away from the bullshit in California.
Yeah.
You know, it's expensive there, and
Fuck yeah.
all the clubs are basically shut down.
Yeah.
So everybody was dispersing pretty much.
It just kind of melted away.
Yeah, the pandemic was really, really hard on a lot of the clubs. I mean, we had a lot of legendary places like Slim's, that shut down permanently. And it's really, it's really kind of hard because they're not just clubs. Those places are like landmarks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some of the best were able to play there.
Yeah. And even not only the best, even some of the ones you would never even hear of, but they're just like a magic about the place, know. And I mean, good luck to the new owners. I haven't been to the new venue. I haven't heard anything about it. But again, it's like, CBGB's, any of those great venues. Ruthie's Inn.
Yeah.
Ruthie's Inn,
Stone,
the Omni,
One
the
Step.
Stone,
Right,
One Step Beyond. Like when all those shut down, I was like, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? There was nowhere to go anymore,
Yeah.
You couldn't play any. They had the Pound, which was out in the...
The Pound was a really cool place, man. I
it was
saw
out
a lot
in
of
the
good
pit,
death
though,
metal
the
out
pit.
there.
Like if you want your shit jacked.
Yeah.
Berkeley Square was like that. Every time
that's
we
why I
used to
keep
play
saying,
there,
hey, my trailer got fucking jacked.
Yeah.
We were at the
my
pit.
stereo would get jacked.
Security
every time
was
in
what you
Berkeley
could
Square.
provide for it. Yeah, your own,
Well, dude, don't park over there. I'm gonna park over there. And
just pay
come
your
back, it's
insurance
gone,
up.
Yeah.
every time.
We got that here, Al Tourist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they did.
Jimmy
it
knows
is.
all about that. Sorry, Jimmy.
So, and we were talking earlier because Yingwei just played here, and you said you had some a story about him.
Yeah, like me and my brother, like Yingwei Malmsteen was playing in Modesto, right? This was a long time ago. Okay, and we got hired and fired by him on the same night.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause we weren't really very good at the time at what we were doing. My brother, he's good at what he does now.
Yeah.
And at the time we were just enthusiastic kids.
Yeah.
Like didn't know anything about guitar teching, like the real deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like people.
So you
do
were
it for a
working
living.
for him?
Well, it's kind of a loose word, right?
Okay.
So you're gonna have to get him to tell you the story about the details on that. All I know is I was brought on to just move stuff in and out,
Right.
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I'm moving stuff back in the van and we're leaving.
Yeah.
And hired and fired. He goes, where are we going? We're going to LA and we're going to go check out Savatage. Like, oh, the Florida band? He was like, yeah, like Chris and John Olivia. Holy crap. Okay. So then been doing that. And then all the way down in Florida for a number of years working road crew.
Yeah.
And then 38 Special and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh,
Eating
yeah.
mushrooms, drinking beer,
Yeah.
just kind of getting away from Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And then, going back to Silicon Valley and then like jumping
You
right
couldn't
back
get
into
mushrooms and beer and stuff.
Oh no! See, that was the thing is, you can get mushrooms and beer, but down in Florida, you could just go out with your friends.
Right, yeah.
That's a whole nother long story. But you could just go pick them, and you didn't even bother selling them. You just had like a bag of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Oregon's right up top there of California.
Florida is on its own fucking.
I've never been to Florida, so I just...
It's not like it's not like what it is now. I mean, it was more rural back then.
Right,
And then back then it was
More
like,
gators.
More gators, yeah.
a lot more gators.
Yeah.
So,
Bigger ones, too.
Yeah,
You're like, you're
bigger
gonna
ones.
need mushrooms for this place.
Yeah, out there now it's the boa
Oh, look
constrictors
at this
eating the
pretty little
gators.
dog. Oh, my God.
Jenny's ripping my leg.
Right. Don't pee on that log.
Don't pee on that log. Yeah.
Why?
Why is this log spiky?
Yeah. Why does the floor move so indie?
This log has teeth.
It does.
I got a little cool Yingwei story.
You got
Okay,
any
here we
story,
They're-
too?
Yeah, they're gonna Alcatraz was going to play at Wolfgang's in San Francisco. Exodus opened for everybody back then.
Yeah, I remember.
So they canceled. Graham Bonnet was sick or some shit.
Yeah.
And so we're like, and everybody's like, oh my God, the guitar god's finally here, right?
Yeah.
So Anvil Chorus said they'll play all his demo shit, like with Black Star, Now Your Ships Are Burned, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then Yngwie said, okay. And they had all the amps out there.
His Marshall stacks.
Unreal.
Oh my God.
It wasn't like that back then.
Yngwie did have a wall of Modesto, and it was just unreal.
I was like, that's
unnecessary.
Did you get fired? I would have quit. I was like, don't fire me. I'm quitting.
Well, that's like I said. We got hired and fired the same day.
Dude, oh my God.
But you had like James Hetfield on the left of your hair. You had Dave Mustaine over here.
Oh shit! That guy, I would lose my shit.
Yeah. Chuck Billy. And everybody was there.
Everybody, the greats coming to town.
You know, and then he's playing, right? And he's doing hella coke on the side. Lines.
Those guys.
This is the shape of Texas.
And it was but the thing was, is he better than Uli Roth from the Scorpions? Because that was like everybody's god. Was Uli Roth. Because of the harmonic minor and the Phrygian scale, and
Uli's the one that brought like modal playing, guitar playing, right? So you had Hendrix and all that, where it was more blues experience, live playing, right? And then you had the Shankner brothers, right? Michael Shankner came in, and then we formed Uli Roth, and Uli brought like non-pentatonic. Like, if you've studied music theory, I don't know that much about it, so I can step all over my tongue here in the next 10
Jeff
seconds.
Will fix you on that one.
Right, I'm sure he will. And God bless you for it, man. I know like 3 scales. But you can see, that's just what happens whenever I talk music and I eat mushrooms. I lose my train of thought.
I know. We're jumping all over the place. Jeff didn't even finish. You didn't finish. We're jumping all over the place.
So it's basically the Phrygian mode.
Right. Modal playing. That's what happened.
Harmonic minor that I was talking to you about.
Nobody thought about that stuff till Uli Roth brought
it. The natural minor scale. He used all these a lot. So all the guitar players learned from him.
Right.
Doug Piercy, Danny Gill.
All real players.
All the local dudes.
Yeah.
So here was the conversation when he was playing that night. Is he better than Uli? I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like that. Every dude was saying that the whole night.
That's the competition.
And everybody with their arms crossed at the back like the gunfighters.
That's your competition. That's where I was like, I can play better than that. It's the same thing.
These are all monster players. That's the crazy thing about it.
Yngwie was only 19 years old.
Yeah. He was a kid.
And he was still shredding back then.
And he was in Alcatraz. And the Alcatraz album rules. Like, that's like one of my favorite albums ever. The solos on that are amazing.
Yeah.
But
I still want to break his legs.
That was like his last stint there.
Not his arms. He needs those.
That was like because he was mystical. He was from Sweden.
Yes.
Sweden. And so you had magazines and zines. That was the other thing too. Is you had these handmade zines. Metal Mania. Right? Yeah. And then you had this handmade stuff like the punk stuff like that would come out. And then like even like the South Bay San Jose was thriving. You had all these great punk bands.
Social Unrest.
Yeah, Social Unrest. You had Attitude Adjustment from Oakland, and then the great, DRI rises out of that, the great crossover band of all time.
Yep.
So, those bands
Not Suicidal?
Suicidal was from Los Angeles, and they're a great band too, man.
I love that band.
Like Los Angeles, I mean, that's the thing is people talk about the Bay Area scene, but the Bay Area scene could not have existed without New York.
Right.
It could not have existed without Los Angeles.
I mean, L.A. actually started it.
Yeah, L.A. actually Slayer came from L.A. Metallica were from L.A. Yep. We had Exodus,
right?
And bands like that. But it took a convergence of those things.
Yeah,
right.
And that was a beautiful thing how it worked out.
Yeah,
and the punk scene, like I forgot all about that. Because I was friends with Ray Vegas, 80.
Yeah, I'm blown away by that.
We had a studio that we eventually bought called Fast and Furious Studios.
Yeah.
So in 1982, Trauma is practicing there with Cliff Burton, and then this punk band called Social Unrest was with Ray Vegas, who eventually got into Violence and those kind of bands. Attitude Adjustment, like he was saying, that were phenomenal. That's where I met them all. So he would take me to L.A. and I'd go see the Descendants.
No shit.
I'd go see Discharge and GBH, and I'm like, fuck, I was totally into that shit. Everybody was.
Right.
And that's where it all merged, and nobody even really knew what a pit was.
Right.
Because back in the day, we'd be playing at the Stone, and they'd be at the Mabuhay Gardens, and they hated us. So how
the crowds didn't mix.
They didn't mix. So what happened?
Weird.
They
That's
come
weird.
over there and slam dance and do all this shit, and we're like, "What the fuck are they?" They just hated us, but we're like, "Oh, we're gonna join in,
Right.
Because we're drunk and on meth,
Right.
Yeah,
So we're gonna go in the crowd.
Well,
and
drunk and smoking
speedball.
weed in
and
my
that's how it
case.
started. That's how it all started.
Didn't partake myself.
Because they hated us.
And punk is such a underrated when it comes to the metal scene because it
But
really
it has
was.
to be.
It's part of the layer, though. It's part
It
of
has
the
to
layer.
be. It has to stay underground. And the moment that it goes commercial mainstream, to me, it loses
They
legitimacy.
lost it. It was the attitude
Loses all
and the
legitimacy.
aggression.
Then they turn into Green Day.
They were
Green
actually-
Day have done a lot of good
they
things
were
for
hardcore
Oakland. I'm not
punk,
gonna
dude.
knock them, but
Green Day
Well,
was
we had
hardcore.
that and
no effects.
Offspring.
Offspring
was like
But then again,
I like Offspring.
They
Yeah.
were hardcore punk
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
All those bands.
Yeah.
But Suicidal was the band. That
Yeah.
came.
Oh yeah.
You know, they came.
They
with
came
Slayer
up-
at
yeah.
Ruthie's End. It was
Yep.
Suicidal.
They came up
It
here.
was Slayer, Exodus, dude.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the three right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then DRI came a little later. But
Yeah, exactly.
Suicidal was like, they're fucking with me subliminally. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're a 15-year-old kid going, this
Yeah,
is the
you're
best
exposed
shit
to
ever.
different
Fuck the
ideas and
government.
stuff.
I
Exactly.
never got into them.
They were phenomenal live, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you should watch some videos.
It reminds
on
me of
YouTube.
Fieldy from Korn.
Well,
Really?
he took a lot
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah, he took a lot from that.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing too. I mean, if you look at Venom, for instance, the early footage of Cronus, you can see where James Hetfield took a lot of his onstage persona.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Craigslist Cicero.
and Craig.
That's where you got the whip.
The whip.
Yeah,
well,
'cause he was
I remember
imitating
him talking
Mantis.
about that on the
Right.
podcast.
Right.
He said his neck
Mantis.
was so messed up from
Venom.
doing this all the
But
time. So he was like,
gave
"Oh, this is
Kronos
all right."
props.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. He gave him props. Yeah.
That's right.
That's insane.
Yeah. So like Venom, was like those bands. I mean, when they came here, there was this store that you could go to, and they would do in stores. And again, us kids would like follow our bands, our local bands, or whatever. We'd all pile into whatever car we had and whatever resources, and we'd go to these meet and greets, man. And you would see like Lemmy with Phil Taylor, or you'd see Merciful Fate with King Diamond without the makeup, with just the glasses. Holy shit, there he is without the makeup. Like it's King. Snag a
Was
picture.
Bailoff in any one of those?
Well, Bailoff was local to the scene.
Yeah.
And Paul Bailoff, later on, when he joined Exodus and all that, became a frontman. But like a lot of people, they're fans like of us.
Right.
And certain fans have or certain individuals have a mystique about them or just a way about them.
Yeah.
Whether they're big or big or crazy, And like
Put on
Chuck,
that persona.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alter ego.
Yeah. Well, it's not even alter ego. That's who they are.
A lot of drugs.
There's a lot of
That's the alter ego.
Yeah.
With a lot of latchkey kids too, man.
Bailoff.
So, like,
Yeah,
their
right,
parents
yeah,
either weren't there, or in Paul's cases, they'd passed away.
Right.
So, but a lot of us were just kind of left where our peers were teaching us like things about life that we didn't know. So we had to learn from everything that was around us.
Yeah.
And at the time also
Like
too.
prison outside.
Well, me personally, because I've never, been incarcerated, but I mean, I imagine that's how it might be. Yeah. You have to develop those, but you have your sisters too. And that's the other thing too. Like early on, like if somebody, like you go to a show and you got like your metal sisters with you like that, everybody looks out for each other.
Right.
If somebody
right.
falls, you pick them up.
Yeah.
You walk people out to the car. If they've had too much to drink, you make sure they're cool
That's
to drive. And if not, you give them a ride home.
Yeah.
Right.
Many
We
times.
kind of still have that. That's kind of, it's somewhere far.
Yeah, if you have an
fetched,
app.
though.
Yeah.
Right.
My friend's fucking in danger. I need to help him.
My sister runs an Uber.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
She's gonna save me. I don't know her name.
Well, I guess you could take it. Like we can do a whole podcast on these societal norms and like
But rewind to that Bailoff stuff.
social media,
I met him in
Paul
82
Bailoff,
at the
subject.
club. And we just started talking about Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East.
Yeah, he would call.
81, it was like Black Tiger. YNT was playing
YNT's
there.
band, yeah.
It was called the.
It had an album.
It's actually the Waldorf, which is the
okay,
Battery
yeah.
Street. Yeah,
This
that's
isn't
what-
our Waldorf.
That's what that's
no.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old Waldorf.
That's what Battery's written after.
So Battery's
Club.
not written about the
I thought
act.
it was
It's written
I
about
was
a
driving down San
district
Francisco.
in
I'm
San
like, I'm on
Francisco.
Battery Street.
So the
That's what the
opening
song's
track.
named after.
No,
Like,
they were talking about that club.
They're talking about
Because
the
they used
district.
to,
and
that's
the
where
club,
they
yeah.
first came, and they did Metal Mondays.
shit.
They would
82.
allow it.
Yeah.
So Metal Mondays started. We actually played there on a Metal Monday, Deep Freeze, and all these bands would play there. Every Monday. And Metallica went there. I didn't go to that show when they first came there.
Yeah.
But
was this when they were moving up from L.A.?
Yeah, Cliff wasn't in the band yet.
Right.
Ron McGovney was in bass.
And they were still trying to.
Kirk wasn't in there either.
No, Kirk was in there. He was in Exodus.
Yeah. Right, he was doing Exodus.
Yeah,
the Exodus never did Metal Mondays.
Oh,
so it was like Anvil Chorus, Motley Crue.
Let's talk about Anvil Chorus, Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like the influence of Anvil Chorus.
I'm talking about Bailoff right now.
Let's finish with the Bailoff and we'll go back.
I get on mushrooms and get off subject, but yeah.
So what happened? Eventually, all these bands would be there, and then a band called Violation. They were like UFO, dude. They were like the next YNT, dude. They were phenomenal. This guy Paul Harris, he was like everybody's idol. You had Doug Piercy from Anvil Chorus. Thayan Rasmussen. They were two guitar players that were phenomenal. I went to every show they ever played.
Yeah, underrated,
phenomenal musicians. The whole band, they were like really progressive but heavy. And then you had Violation, who were the next YNT. And Paul Harris would rent us Marshalls, and I'm all, these sound like shit. And we'd get mad.
They'd rent you Marshalls?
Yeah, in the back of BAM, they're like, if you want like 6 stacks at your show.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could rent a backline. You could go to the
trip.
And we did that.
That's the other thing is the music stores would help the bands out. That's another group. Not only were the DJs in on it, but the music stores, the mom and pop shops.
It wasn't Guitar Center?
No.
It was all the mom and pop shops, and God bless them for it.
Yeah. But he had like 10 stacks, right, of these old Marshalls.
We could just
rent them out in the back of BAM magazine. Everybody had BAM magazine back then because that was like your
top
Bible.
Magazine.
That was your Bible.
Yeah.
You could communicate and call people up, and you could get resources.
So we rented. Actually, what's funny is we rented those for Death Angel. Death Angel just started. We headlined over Death Angel.
No
really?
shit.
Wow. 1982. Wow. This is like when
they didn't have. Which band was it?
Death Angel.
No, which band were you?
Deep Freeze.
Deep Freeze.
Yeah. So this is Deep Freeze.
I even have the ticket stub.
Really? You still got it? Yeah, that's cool.
So Mark Osegueda wasn't even in the band. Rob was singing and Gus was singing at the time. So we rented these Marshalls for the show because we're like, okay, we're headlining the Stone, San Francisco, right? And they sound like shit. There was like no overdrive. And
you were using every single one?
Yeah, we
dummy cab?
You chain them up.
Well, he had 2
There's no dummy cabs. You didn't know what dummy cabs were.
I had 2 stacks. Right. But I had a JCM 2000. Like I was a dumb kid.
Yeah, I was like, why do you need that much?
Because I was a dumb kid.
Yeah.
I was
like, holy shit.
The more the better. The more the better, right? I had a JCM 2000 that was modded. That's
all go to 11,
right?
But I wanted the look, right? I just had a half stack.
Yeah, but you're counting your sound. Your sound ends up just being a fucking muddy wash after that.
But it looked cool.
Oh, God damn.
Yeah.
That's what it was all about. You know, when you perform.
That's why I didn't get the fucking...
It's at least half. It's at least half.
We tried it out.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. And we were like, we paid him, right?
Yeah.
I think it was like $200. And we're like, and he was like, oh my God, so bummed out. We didn't like them, because they were really thin sounding.
Yeah.
I had a 6550s in my JCM 2000, which was total metal.
Right.
Vacuum tubes for the kids at home.
Way better, dude.
Good stuff. You guys need to look that up.
Anyway.
All right, yeah.
But anyway, he was like one of the main guitar influences we had, and he would do all the Weeks Parks judging. Like that's where I met Cliff Burton. He was doing the Agents of Misfortune with Jim Martin. They were just a 3-piece instrumental band.
That's the one in the
on YouTube.
Yep, on the baseball
he's doing
or the basketball. Back then, before it's in there. I gotta show you that too.
Yeah,
that's
I want to see.
Fucking crazy.
So we'd play with them, and Paul would like, you guys aren't melodic enough, and like, fuck you, dude.
Wow. You talking about Bolstad?
No, Paul Harris.
Oh, Harris.
Yeah, Paul Harris from Violation.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, I looked up to him, like he was like, oh my God, he's judging us.
Your peers, man.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to play. I didn't know any. I didn't take lessons.
But it makes you dig in.
So this is a
starting. It makes you want to either quit or it makes you go home and dig in. I'm
starting a band. I'm gonna write some stuff. And so you were just starting out writing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You had Cliff Burton there, and you're like, holy, this dude's making well noises.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, this dude's and Jim Martin. I didn't even know who that dude was.
Yeah.
From Faith No More.
Yeah.
He's like, I love Faith No More.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bands
That's
ever.
one of the great Bay Area bands.
So if you watch that video, you'll see Jim Martin. They play a lot of licks that you're like, oh, I know that one.
Yeah,
because they just improvise.
No
like
shit.
for like
they
half
bounce
hour straight.
off of each other.
Crazy.
Just half hour. They don't even stop.
Yeah.
I don't know who the drummer was, but
was it Mike Borden? Probably.
No, it wasn't Mike Borden. It's this other guy. They say his name on there.
John Connor.
John Connor. Dude, you're still going on fucking.
I thought this is where you're going back to full circle.
So
that's not.
So fast forward. I think it was like the same year, the year he joins Trauma. So we needed a studio to rehearse at, so we're like, there was a studio.
And you didn't have the other studio, the fast.
Well, that's what this is, the studio.
Oh, so this is what started.
So we're like, we need to rehearse somewhere because we were in my garage. My dad's all, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
But he was cool. He
band gets too big.
Us.
Right, yeah.
We had parties there every Friday, Saturday, but
that's
enough was enough, right?
Yeah.
So me and my bass player went and looked for a studio, and Pat Sauger, who I played with for 12 years, and we went to this studio out in Warm Springs, and that's where Trauma was recording. It was like a recording studio, and you could rent like MRC.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
And it was just one room. It was 3,000 square foot. So you could have like two bands or whatever.
Yeah.
It sounded
And it just
great.
had one room?
Well, it was in 3,000 square foot, dude.
Yeah.
It was like a concert
You could
hall.
partition it up if you needed
So
to.
it's like the main stage.
Yeah.
You could partition it up if you needed
So
to.
they would record there also. So they had a recording booth.
Yeah.
So as soon as you walk in the room, there was a glass, and then the recording
Isolation
booth was right
booth,
here. Isolation booth, and then walk in. There was the studio.
Yep.
Oh, so they did it out like on an open stage. Then it wasn't like drum room. Now it's like drum. You got your own drum room. It's like
it was live, live.
It's a live recording. Type
live
stuff.
room.
But it was cool, like 15-year-old kid going in there.
Right? Yeah, you're like, oh my fucking god, this is amazing.
And Cliff Burton was in there. I'm all, dude, you're that dude from when we played with the guys at Jam Night or whatever. And he's all, yeah, I was. Cliff, I was.
Oh yeah, we got to get into that story with you and Cliff after this, where he was in Metallica.
I'll get into that real quick here. I'm
gonna let you go on your track. Go ahead, keep going.
So Cliff was all like, and I'm all, whoa, and I was all like starstruck again, and they were recording their Trauma demo, and then we got to open for him at a show at the Keystone Berkeley. Like, we're opening for Trauma, that dude I just met, and like that was like the first time I met him. And he was all like,
right.
But he wasn't like, hey, how you doing? He was like, I was.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
He wasn't friendly.
Yeah. So we took mushrooms.
I'm intrigued by that. He was not friendly.
Mushrooms at the show after Trauma.
Mushrooms, there it is again.
And then he was friendly.
He played, and I'm on, he should get Metallica, like he played a bass solo. The band wasn't really cutting it. They weren't heavy for me, and I was like, this dude, this guy needs to be in.
Fits in there.
And then he got Metallica a week later. Right?
And he was on the metal albums that Michael down at Metal Blade was putting out.
Right.
Brian Slagle was. Yeah.
Brian Siegel.
Brian Slagle, right. When he
Slagle.
Right.
Siegel.
Whatever. Well, no, it was Brian Slagle was putting out the Metal Massacre. I think was the name of the compilations, right? So Cliff Burton was on Trauma. If you get the first one or the second one, I can't remember. You can Wikipedia that.
Yeah, I think they talk about that in Murder in the Front Row too.
Yeah, he's on there twice, whatever. And then Metallica, the guitar leads, I think, were Lloyd Grant. A local down there in L.A.
The solos.
Yeah, he did the solos on that. But I find it intriguing, like the personality and things they have. How about Cliff Burton, like the mystique and everything about him, and to hear about the individual it has when you had met him. I thought that's just kind of like really, really cool.
Well, the whole when you were talking to me about that story, it changed my whole perspective on Metallica.
Like, that's why I'm kind of looking,
makes sense when James just recently came out with when he was talking on stage at I think he was in Brazil, yeah.
And that's who he looked up to. Like James was all right. Like, he taught him harmony, theory, all that shit.
Yeah.
But he was an asshole to everybody, dude. Like he like they played that show I was telling you about at the Berkeley Square,
right?
Where my friend bought a Marshall White Anniversary 50-watt head from me, and I had the cabinet.
Yeah.
But he was like an Asian guy. I forget his name, but he was Kirk Hammett's cousin.
Huh.
So Kirk's all, hey, I'm going to use that tonight. And it was Kill 'Em All Armored Saint was opening, and I went backstage, and nobody was back there, and like Kirk's guitar was over there with a little Marshall, and then Cliff was there sitting on the chair, just all like doing this, and I'm like, hey, you want some of my beer? And I had just bought a brand new pitcher, mind you, and he guzzled the whole fucking thing. He's all here.
No, thank you. No, nothing.
Really? No, nothing. And he's all, like, typical Cliff Burton, right? Yeah. And I was like, wow, okay. But anyway, like, I didn't even, what do you say to that? Right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's kind of a shocker.
You think I'll go back to my seat now. You're welcome for the beer.
So I went back to my seat, and then I'm waiting for, just waiting. Then we got another pitcher, me and the bass player. No, some dude's pounding at the door. I'm like, what the fuck? It sounded like Apocalypse, right? Sounded like Fight Fire with Fire. And I open the door, and it's James Hetfield, and he runs in there to Cliff. He's all, you fucking left me at home. You didn't pick me up, you fucking motherfucker. And Cliff's all, fuck you, fag. Because James wasn't really like a fighty guy.
Yeah,
he looked like it, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
So that was like number 2, right? Then the third one was like Lars is all, I need somebody in here with a van. I'm all, a van? I'm all nudging my bass player.
Did Pat. Cliff Burton have that Grasshopper Volkswagen van at the time?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it didn't have the system.
He used to pick everybody up, right. And he totally didn't pick him up that night. He was pissed. He had to take the bus there and everything.
Yeah.
So either the van broke down or some other crap, or
no, I think he just
he probably just. I guarantee he didn't pick him up. That's why James was fucking pissed, dude.
So maybe he didn't call him, or I don't know. The whole story.
Yeah,
but he's all, fuck you, fag, right? And then
made him walk. Yeah.
And then Lars is all, does anybody here have a van? We need to like cue the lights. I'm all like nudging my bass player. I'm all, yeah, we got a van. And I said, yeah, we got a van. He's all right, come on. I'm all, let's go out the front. He's all, no, I can't do that. I'm all, you can't go out the front? He's all, dude, I will get mauled.
Yeah.
And we couldn't go out the back, so I had to like talk the owner into letting us go out the back. And he finally did after like 20 minutes, and Lars is sitting with me the whole time. So we get in the van, we cued the lights for, the whole show.
Yeah.
He got his thing, and that was that. And then I played Kirk's guitar before Kirk got there with a penny, and he got mad, that kind of stuff. So that's my Metallica story,
No shit.
83 is when that happened. Yeah.
Wow.
Keep going.
So it's like right before Ride the Lightning, right?
No, this is like when Kill 'Em All was released.
Like the early.
Wow. 83 with Armored Saint supporting.
Yeah. Ryan, you were talking about Anvil Mortis?
No, Anvil Chorus.
Anvil Chorus.
So yeah, there's a lot of bands that they talk about, Metallica and all that, but there are other bands that don't get mentioned at all, and that their influence as far as technical playing and as far as sound, like Armored Saint's another one.
Yeah,
like
phenomenal band.
Yeah, they don't get enough press, and like it was funny because the mushrooms were starting to kick in, and it was like, oh yeah, not only are we talking about Paul Bailoff, but we've got to mention those other bands.
Yeah.
And keep talking about
Absolutely.
them, and then give them as much press and as much hype as we can.
Was he in those other bands?
No, these were like,
it was just the same circle. Then I'm guessing.
No, that's the thing, is they were different circles of people.
Bailoff?
No,
Bailoff.
That's why, because you brought up
Heathen for a while.
Yeah,
was he in Heathen?
Yeah, he had demos.
Amazing.
Yeah, with Doug Piercy.
Well, that's why I thought you knew that, because you brought them together as Bailoff and
well, no, he was talking about, he brought up Anvil Chorus and Thane Rasmussen, and there were other bands, like I said, a lot of the bands that get mentioned, let's say like Metallica and so many other bands,
like the big ones,
right? But you got bands like Possessed that were hugely influential.
That was later, though.
Yeah, much later. So when I came in much later, he was earlier on. But early on, when you could talk about thrash, you look at the different bands that came in with like Dick Piercy and those guys. But they don't get enough talk about that. Like Ron Quintana and other radio DJs would bring them up, but now like the history books just seem to almost kind of forget about them. Right. And I think that's kind of a shame. And like, so when we do these podcasts and things like this, to bring them up, and
it's
to
great
mention
to
them,
do that.
And then I would say to the kids, go out there and listen to that stuff. But also there were the different groups of people, musicians. You had the thrash groups that were kind of rough, and then you had more of the technical musicians that later came along out of that. know. But the groups at the time, we had the influence of punk and all that, but they would not necessarily run around with each other, but they would influence each other and join each other's bands.
Right, yeah. Right. So it wasn't like a animosity type
No,
thing.
I would never see it. Never.
Not till Violence and Forbidden Evil.
Oh, then the animosity.
Yeah. Rob Flynn faked his broken arm.
You were telling me that story, yeah.
Wow. I heard a story about broken bottles and certain people weren't allowed at certain parties and things like that anymore.
Oh, dude, I welcome that shit. I've had a couple of shows like that, dude. Really? I love that shit, dude.
Was it like where you just don't let people at your house with broken bottles?
Oh, no, yeah, it was a house. So it was a house party when we were playing in a garage, dude. And it was like a fucking single car garage. And people are just fucking getting wild, dude. Bottles are getting smashed. I had glass all over my drum set.
Okay.
My singer's falling into my kit, fucking knocking over my floor toms.
Sounds like
trying to pick up shit and keep going.
Right.
I love that stuff though. That stuff's awesome.
Me too. That's like the parties we had.
Yeah,
in
the
Bay
parties
Area,
are great, dude.
Fremont.
Yeah,
stick with for a while,
dude. It's great. It's fantastic.
So you would say not only the big shows, but the parties were more influencing on the musician.
Yeah.
That's where
I think
it got
it's more
real.
actually. The big shows, you get a separation there. So that separation doesn't
between you and the crowd.
Me and the big shows. I don't like big shows.
That's where you need a bucket to piss in.
Yeah,
because you can't go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you can't go to the bathroom. Yeah,
you got nowhere to go. You got to just play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some good shit. You know, the parties we had, like in Fremont with Funga Munga, we'd tear down houses.
Yeah.
Like the whole house.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was punk, you know, punk rockers.
Yeah.
And cops would come.
The metal scene was just as hard, though.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it's a layer thing.
They were related.
It didn't. There was no differentiation.
There was no. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the layers. We all. It's all the conglomeration.
Yeah. It was the same shit, dude. We just, partied hard. I mean, our studio, we had parties every weekend,
Right.
We collected money. That's how we paid rent, basically.
Yeah.
We'd have, buckets full of beer bottles and cans and, get the keg, and then I would pay for everything that week.
$2 at the door. Come on in,
You recycle the glass and the bottles.
Yeah. Fast and Furious Studios, dude. That's where Violence recorded their first demo.
No shit.
That's where Forbidden Evil recorded their first demo. We had an 8-track player, and the bass player, Pat Sauger, would record all those guys, and that's how they first put those demos out.
Wow.
And they're like some, really sought out now, those demos. The physical copies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But back then you're like, oh, that's no big deal.
Yeah.
Nobody thought any of this was going to be what it turned into. At the time, like I said, you were just kind of living it, and a lot of it was just suburban kids, kind of left on their own devices.
Well, that's the cool part about metal in general is it's always been kind of that
underdog.
Underdog, but it's always that one where it's the life of the fucking party.
Right.
Yeah. All the metal kids,
it's the family.
We talk about that.
That's on Battery.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time on this podcast about the community in metal, especially around here, where it is a fucking family.
I wouldn't be, still playing if it wasn't for 8990. It was that same collection. It was this house. It was called 8990, and everybody. It was the same. Everybody just went to there. And so there were songs made after it, and so that's what. And I was in high school at the time, middle school, high school, and I was like, "This is unfucking real."
Well, think about it too. When something happens to one of us in our community, think about how quickly everybody springs up and does a benefit show.
Right. Oh yeah.
Or how quickly they're like, "You're in a jam.
Or
hey, I will get a GoFundMe to get you out of a jam.
Or
I will get you
on command. We raised $30,000 for him.
Yeah, exactly.
We just did a benefit.
Yeah.
Or hey, I'll hop on a plane and I'll go to Tucson and I'll drive your shit back. I mean, just
100%. If somebody asked me if we want to do a benefit, there's no question.
Any day.
I'm there.
Any day.
I'm there.
Yeah. Or the thing is you would just hear about something and then you would just put it together.
I'm not Ariana Grande.
Right now.
You would just hear about something happening and you would already be thinking about it, and your friends would call you up. Hey, by the way, do you want on this bill? Hey, we were already putting a bill together. Hey, that's funny. We were doing the very same thing you were doing.
Yeah, let's collaborate.
Let's just collaborate. Let's put our resources together.
Yeah, let's put it together.
Yeah, and it's just that quick.
Yeah. So
I know you had notes.
So fast forward to 1990.
Okay.
this guy was in the San Francisco Bay Area. His name was Kevin Aborn. He was banned from Angel Witch, the lead singer for Angel Witch. He was just hanging out because he couldn't get back to England because of his passport. And I seen him at a club and I'm like, hey, you want to jam? He's all, yeah, okay.
Oh, shit.
And so, like, cool. I'm like, he was like my idol, dude, like Angel Witch, right? The first album. Everybody loved that album. So, but he had no money, no nothing. So he had to sleep on my floor. And I had to buy him cigarettes.
Yeah, you probably couldn't get a job.
It's hard because you got no work visa.
Yeah.
No, but we played with him for like 4 months and then, kind of like cut ties with him. But we played one show at the Fast and Furious Studios and there was probably like 500 people there. Yeah. It was pretty cool. And then he ended up joining John Torres and Tom Hunting and then I think Doug Piercy from Anvil Chorus. Mm-hmm. So he got with them. That was the new Angel Witch. And then they were going to do a show at the Omni. And his manager at the time, Jeff Weller, told the immigration that he was playing.
Way.
Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah, because they had a falling
out. He
out.
pulled the ice card, dude.
That's fucked up.
Wow.
So, yeah.
The hell of people, like 2,000 people at the Omni, right? And I was like, I tried telling him, dude. I'm like, dude, you're going to get popped. Because he was trying to use a, fake shit, like Social Security and all this, to get a job.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
He didn't go to Kiko's.
Because he didn't want to go back.
Kiko's.
He just didn't know. Yeah. He wasn't very smart, but he was God guitar player, singer. But,
did you have, so that's a weird thing now, too, because you guys have managers during this time, right?
Yeah.
So managers are kind of, especially here in Reno, managers don't exist unless it's, hey, this is my wife.
It's cowboy country.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, so you had a manager that you were talking about.
Yeah, Donna Davis.
Yeah.
Who did, she actually got me into the first grudge match, and I was 17 when I was in Deep Freeze.
Uh-huh.
And she got me into that show, and she interviewed Metallica. She's all going to go interview some band called Metallica tonight.
Never heard of them.
Oh, really? That's, and she did. It's on Cliff Mall.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that's her on Cliff Mall.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And she was like a hard-nosed, Debbie Abano kind of manager, just kind of.
Sharon Osbourne.
No, not that bad.
Hey, Scott, can I get a water?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say I wouldn't go that route, but
hey,
you never know.
Can I get a water?
It's kind of faded out. You know.
Thank you, brother.
So what happened with, how'd you end up splitting ties with her? Like, how did that?
I think the singer fucked her or some shit, so it was like they kind of got in a tiff.
It's always the women.
Well, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's like, well, I'd never have that again.
Right.
Yeah. So,
have you had a manager since?
Not like that.
No.
Yeah.
See, no. I think it's like a fading out fucking thing.
I think it depends on what you want to do.
The band's the manager now, usually.
Usually nowadays it is because everybody collaborates because they're in on it. They want to just do what they want to do together as one unit, right? And then there's back in the 80s and stuff, you had a manager because I don't know shit about the music scene. All I know is I play this.
Absolutely.
How do I get to this venue? How do we play this?
Well, I think the stretch was a little bit farther too.
It wasn't formalized back like it is now.
And
your reach was a little different.
Yeah, you weren't thinking about that. None of that was
but that's all that was your kids, right?
Yeah,
when I was a kid playing, I didn't think about a fucking manager. I'm playing music. Who the fuck? What's a manager?
Like, the guy, I've always played with older guys, so I was like,
I do now.
Manager, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then we got her, and then a couple later down the road, and I was like, we could just do this ourselves.
I think that's where everybody's at, though. I think it's like we could do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Because then eventually I think this comes back to like a lot of big, names that had managers, and they were like, we only get $50 a night, and it's like, what the fuck? You're selling out stadiums. You're only getting like a couple $100. Like,
right.
It does happen a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily. I also hear stories like, for instance, like the band would do a lot of drugs and or alcohol in their lifestyle and live way outside of their means.
Right, that was the lifestyle.
Like every band.
Like every band, right?
I think it's considered water at this point.
Well, in one instance, I heard about the manager surprising the band.
Right,
surprising the band
Yeah.
And had basically bought a large chunk of land up north in Mendocino. And built a winery and a small outdoor auditorium.
Oh, he's doing a Maynard thing.
And then, this did this on the band's behalf and didn't tell them.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So in this case, the manager did something really, really grand for them. You know? So, but there are good managers out there that do look out for their talent.
Yeah, but there was those ones that fucked it up for everybody else.
Yeah.
But when people tie onto that.
If you're gonna look for a manager, you look for somebody as if they're gonna join your band.
They have to be a member, of course.
To what you guys are
like
writing,
Doc
performing.
Doc McGee was great.
Shit,
yeah.
He handcuffed Tommy Lee.
That was in Dirt.
Yeah. I love that movie.
Yeah.
But
that's how it was, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was party central. That's what you did, you know. And
Every
it didn't
night.
matter kind of what genre you were in back then. The 80s was let's fucking party, you know.
But I think they did that too many times and got stiffed on everything.
Well,
and that's where it switched.
Bad things happen to people, so you had to kind of. There was a certain tipping point where
there was a tipping point. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
No. You had a point to where you would kind of either manage to figure out how much you could handle.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, either that or your friends would come forward and tell you, "Hey, bro, you know, we're going to take care of you." Yeah, exactly.
John Holmes' pool party.
So rewind back to the Forbidden Evil days.
Yeah.
After they wanted to get rid of Glenn Avalize after the first album, or no, after Rob quit and went to Violence, before Glenn Avalize. And we were at a party, and Paul Bostaff comes up to me. He's like, "Hey." They were like kids to me, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, dude, you want to join our band?"
Yeah.
Well, no.
No.
I don't think so. Because we have the best drummer ever. He was like Blue Devils.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah, he was like phenomenal. Everybody looked up to him.
Just high school drummers, man.
Dude, like Paul Bostaff would watch him. Chris Contes would watch this dude.
Yeah. They're huge.
Their competition, what do they call that? There's a name for that.
We did a whole podcast with some guy who does the whole thing.
And they never talk about this, but I'm all, nah, dude, it's cool. I mean, I would like to because I like Russ. But no, it's cool. I mean, but they're a killer. You know, but I was like, I had my own vision, you know, at that time. And then I told them no, you know, I just said, I have the Annihilation thing. And then it turned into, I'm all like, man, these guys are pretty fucking good. Then he got a double bass drum kit.
Yeah.
You know, like a big black.
Real double.
Well, you were talking when Paul actually got that double bass.
Yeah, because I would tell him, there's a band, you know, your cousin's band really wants you to join. He's all, but I want to join Annihilation.
Yeah.
That's like, he really wanted to join our band. And I'm all, because we were pretty big at the time. You know, we had parties and shows and stuff. But, I turned him down 3 times.
Fuck.
Paul Bostaff.
Do you regret it now? Like,
I do regret it, but the jams we had are like with all of us.
Yeah.
So I think that's more priceless than being in a band with them.
Yeah. I don't think he would have ended up where he was at if that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's very possible.
I think you need that.
I think that's
very important.
You needed that.
And I said, you know, he would ask
You
me,
need that rejection.
right? Yeah.
You need the rejection.
And I'm on, do you got a single bass kit, dude?
Right.
And our drummer had like, you know, the full blown double bass.
Yeah.
You know, that's what everybody had.
20
at the time.
toms.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he got that. Then they did the first album. I'm like, wow, that's pretty fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
And then the Slayer thing came up, and who did he come to? Me.
Yeah.
He's, Jeff, should I join Slayer? I'm all, yeah, dude.
Crazy. Yeah.
Are you fucking crazy? Like, he didn't even want to tell those dudes that.
Yeah.
I'm all, dude, you're phenomenal, dude.
Well, let's say it's a drummer thing. We're super critical.
Like, he would get there, like, you know, we first auditioned him in 1981 when we were in Deep Freeze because Jim Pittman was his cousin. He's like, I know this guy is really good. But he's kind of a jock. I'm all, okay, kind of a jock.
Right.
And he actually came.
He's gonna come in basketball shorts and
Dude,
shit.
he did.
He's gonna do a Danny. He's gonna do a Danny Carey.
I think he had cleats on and everything.
Yeah,
the whole schmill, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
I'm all, dude.
I'm gonna do that one time. I'm just gonna put on golf cleats and see how this works out.
Right?
What's that tic-tacking behind your drum kit?
Like he even brought me a demo of him playing. I think it was "When American Band."
Yeah,
you know? That's pretty good drums on that.
Yeah.
I'm all, he's pretty good. Okay, we'll check him out because our drummer was phenomenal, Jeff Stein. He was like
that's
Neil
the Blue
Peart.
Devil. That's the Blue Devil.
No, this guy's before that.
Okay.
Well, I always had good drummers.
Yeah.
Always had good drummers. So Jeff Stein was like, he was like Neil Peart, Clive Burr.
Yeah.
You know, like he plays on.
He
was really good.
Yeah.
So like, but he wouldn't come to practice, and we're like, okay, we want a new drummer. So Paul comes over with his family, and they set his drum set up with his dad and his uncle, and I'm all, oh my god, this guy's like fag. You know, like I didn't even know the guy, but he was like total jock. You know, no metal, hard rock.
Yeah.
You know, I was like.
But how did you make it work, man? Was it you just that good that talent overcame
Well,
it?
it didn't really work out. I asked him, like, can you play some Sabbath, Wicked World?
Yeah.
That was in a and he could play it like killer, but he just didn't have the look.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he had the killer drum set.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're, you know, you're 17, 16-year-old kid going,
yeah, where's your
I
one?
don't know about that, dude.
Right.
So we're like, nah,
Where's
that's
your,
cool.
Where's your
And then
Levi
the drummer,
jacket?
The drummer came back, the other guy that knew the shit, right? So fast forward to 85, 86, like when we were having troubles with our drummer Annihilation, Paul comes in, you know, still kind of the same, playing with a cover band, doing Dokken, War Pigs. And I'm like, wow, this guy's, but he didn't have the drum set still. He had the single bass.
Yeah.
You know,
Very simplistic, yeah.
and I was like, I don't know, dude. You know, we had the studio. You know, we were pretty big at the time. You know, and I was like, and that was like probably the last one where he's like, you know, like okay, but I know this other band called Forbidden Evil.
Excellent.
It's pretty good. Oh, you saw my cousin's band? Yeah. I'm like, I think
that's the one.
I think you'd fit in there, dude.
Ta-da.
And I think because you're really good, dude.
Yeah.
And then the next 3 days, he bought like this black, black double bass Tama drum kit.
Yeah,
like, phenomenal, you know.
Oh,
when he got into Forbidden Evil.
Yeah.
And then they started rehearsing at our studio. And then that's when we started jamming a lot.
Right.
And then I was like, man, I fucked up.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, wow, it's Paul Booth.
Yeah.
But we always jammed together.
Always
Jammed together, you know. And from this day on, I was like, okay, and, you know, you deserved what you went through. So.
Yeah.
So it was kind of me like going, you know, you need to get a drum set.
Yeah.
Because I always knew he was a phenomenal drummer.
Yeah.
And then the look came later.
But you helped him do that. You helped him get that.
Yeah. I was like kind of the
100%.
master.
Yeah.
You know,
helped him. You saw what it was that he needed.
All those guys.
You gave him advice.
You know, all those guys back then were like that.
But that's the community side of everything. Like,
yeah.
It's not like harping on her or being a dick. It's saying, this is gonna this is gonna make you jump to that next level. Like,
totally.
Let's get there. Like,
Did you guys ever have somebody like that in your past that kind of pushed you in that direction?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, like
but never like Paul. Like, here's what happened later. Like, we ended up doing we'd jam and do all that shit with Damien from Fungo Mungo on keyboards. And this guy, Chris King, would play bass. But we eventually, because they were in there for the Twisted Into Form recording.
Yeah.
So they were always there. So Paul would get there, shit you not, 10 in the morning, warm up, 2 hours on his pad.
Fuck.
Then go play on his drum kit, take a break, and then the other bands would show up. I think we would start rehearsing around 5, and then he'd quit playing still on his drum pad.
Yeah.
And then Forbidden would practice after us. So like midnight, they would stop practicing. Midnight.
Jeez.
So 10 in the morning, midnight.
Like that Kobe Bryant of drumming.
Right. And then we
wonder why he's enslaved.
And then we
weird.
Yeah.
And then he would stick around, and he's all, "You guys want to jam?" And that's when we would start doing those jam nights.
Yeah.
Like yeah, you're insane, dude. You're like, he's all, "I love it, dude." So it's, like we get beer and smoke weed and just do these improvisational things that were insane.
You get that bug, man.
Like, but not miss a wrong note. It was all perfect.
You see people do that, and you're just like, how do you do that? It's
I mean,
practice.
you could ask all 4 of those dudes, and they're like, it was magical.
No shit.
Magical.
Because I'm sure the beer was flowing pretty heavily.
The beer was, but everybody was in, like how warmed up he was. That's what I'm saying.
Now I'm warmed up. My blood's flowing. Like you get a couple beers, but you get a half a beer in me.
Eventually, he got wrist problems. Eventually, he got wrist problems from that. You know?
Right? Yeah. Well, see, that's what comes next.
Right. Like we're just all like,
but when you're young, you don't fucking do that shit. It's like fucking.
Yeah, we're like in our late 20s at the time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this guy is magical, you know. And that we used to do that all the time there, actually. With a bunch of bands and just go in there and jam because we had amps set over here, and 3,000 square foot studio, and you can record even.
So much room for activities.
So I just got to tell you guys, I got to step outside for a minute because, like I said, that mushroom cap. And
You're good, bro.
Some major surgery. You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're gonna do surgery outside?
No, I just had major surgery, so my health is not that great. I ate that mushroom cap, and probably not the best thing I should have done.
You're good, bro.
So I'll be back in a few minutes.
Do your thing.
I'm gonna drink my water, and I'll be back. Okay.
Do your thing. You're good. You need any more liquids, Ron? They're in that fridge. There's plenty of liquids in there, man.
This should be sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
I just need to get outside and get some air.
Yeah. No, do that, man.
So Jeff, this is intriguing. I mean, I've never heard this whole.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, Jeff has notes. So when somebody comes with notes, they're gonna come. They're gonna come prepared, dude.
I've held this in for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, wow.
Like this shit hasn't been talked about ever.
Yeah.
It's like the first time ever.
That's insane.
I know it's gonna get.
I mean, they know. But they don't talk about it. Like
I wonder if they're gonna watch the podcast.
I'm like, I'm watching like Craig and I'm like, what are they gonna mention about, on their, stuff they leave out, because our band was really influential. We were like a freight train, dude, like in your face. Like the first band that actually played with us at one of our shows and was Blind Illusion, Mark Biederman, and they opened for us. And they were like, ding, Les Claypool and
shit,
Mark Biederman, first out.
I was like, what?
Larry Lalonde, was in the band on the first album from Possessed. He's in Primus now, so both those dudes are in Primus, and they come to our studio and they're like, there's like 300-400 people there at Kager party.
No shit.
And then we come on with that drummer.
Yeah.
And they're like,
right? Yeah.
Holy fuck, Marsh JCM 800s, modified.
Fucking.
We're from old. Nobody even heard of us, And we're like, check this shit out.
In your face.
Faster and fuck. We were like the faster than Slayer, back then. Slayer wasn't even out yet,
Wow.
So we're like, we just ripped it up back then, and they're like, oh my God, And then the downfall is when the drummer, he got cyst in his wrists and couldn't play anymore.
Oh, shit.
We can never find a drummer to that equal capacity.
Yeah,
dude. Like,
when you lose something like that.
You're like, Paul, what are you doing?
Yeah, right? And Paul's all,
too late.
Paul's all, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Paul's all, yeah. And Paul would watch this dude.
Yeah.
Dude, who wouldn't watch? Dude, that would be
Chris Contos from Machine Head, Attitude Adjustment.
Yeah.
Like, dude. Gary Holt.
Yeah.
All these dudes, we play all these shows and like, I'm all, that's right.
All right, yeah. Check this motherfucker
cocky
out.
little kid, 19-year-old,
Jesus.
We
like
were
a Mike
like
Orris.
Live. Yeah, totally like Mike Orris.
Dude, Mike Orris.
And then when we lost him, it just we could never get that magic back.
Yeah.
We got a couple drummers, but just was never, because he was a guitar player.
Yeah.
And he would write this off-time shit. And, he was phenomenal, dude.
There's a trick there.
Yeah.
And it's fun, because I knew a guy years ago who I played in 2 different bands with before, self-taught left-handed guitar player.
Yeah,
and
he was
Nick
lefty.
Helms, this guy could write things just like nobody's business. Just had such a input on, he was tapped into American metal and was very influenced by like Lamb of God and bands like that, and had a real Norwegian horizon and influences and
black metal
music and stuff
right.
like
a lot
that.
of black metal,
a lot of death metal from especially European death
metal. This drummer was in the Blue Devils marching corps,
and that's
so
like,
he's doing like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 2 3 1 2
yeah,
3
because
and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what the fuck is that, dude? He's with the drums, and he's a lefty drummer playing right, this. He wasn't playing like this; he was playing like this, and doing drum licks like this. You're like, where'd this guy come from?
Dude, you gotta listen to the podcast we did with Kevin, dude.
Yeah.
You're gonna, dude, because we talk about a lot of that stuff. Because that's what his thing was.
So we're writing in 7/12 timing,
right?
Because I wrote really weird, you know. And he's like,
it's not your straightforward.
Hey, how about change this over? And
right?
Like, you know.
Yeah. I love that though.
Yeah.
I love that.
Makes you ask the question: does music make the musician, or does the music make music? You know, or does the musician make the music? Yeah,
I think it's both.
I think it is both. Yeah, that's why I think it's.
Yeah, but I guess with the chicken and the egg, like which came first?
Egg.
No,
the penis came first.
The penis.
Yeah, the fucking penis. Hey,
because you wouldn't have the egg without the penis, right?
Exactly.
Chicken penis.
Yeah. Chicken penis for lunch.
The penis fucking never be there without the egg.
That's right.
Yeah. That's true.
But in terms of like somebody
the moms against
when you've got that kind of talent, you know, I mean, you think, you know, are you born with that kind of talent? Because you meet people and you see people and you know, you're inspired by people that do things that you're just like, how in the fuck do you do that?
Right.
And they're creating things that you're just like, holy shit, this is the holy grail of guitar playing or drumming or whatever it is.
I don't think it has to do with born into it, because I was born into it, and you know, other
and
people
you suck. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, 100%. So that's what I'm saying.
I think it's just a lot of rehearsal, dude.
I mean,
you know,
again,
practice.
Like you play.
How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Like Annihilation back in the day, like when we had that studio, we practiced 7 days a week. 7 days a week, mind you.
Yeah.
We were tighter than a fucking
nut's ass.
I spread that out between 4 bands.
But I couldn't do it now. But I'm just saying back then.
Yeah.
Loud volume though.
Oh well, yeah.
Like, you know, it was insane.
There was no other way to do it.
There was no.
And I didn't wear earplugs.
Earplugs, yeah.
You know, I just loved the sound of the Marshall at the time. You know. And then people come in, you're like, yeah, let's have a party.
Got an audience now. Who brought beers?
Well, you got live music. Somebody
then,
has beer. It's
and like, Rob Flynn would come in.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah. It's like
that's a great.
It's pepperonis on pizza, dude. It's peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Pineapple on pizza.
Get the fuck out of here.
So the first band we had,
I like it.
The first band in '86, because we were already out, like '85, playing shows.
I was just getting born.
Doing, you know, shows everywhere, you know, at the studio or the Stone, all those kind of shows. And then the first band we had in there was Violence with Phil Dimmel.
Yeah.
And we had, you know, Dean Dell wasn't even in the band, the bass player. And then Sean Killian wasn't the singer. We had this guy, Jerry Burr, who's like one of my best friends. He was the lead singer at the time. And Perry Strickland, who was in Deep Freeze before that. Mm-hmm. And we had to fire him because he was like, had this weird ass job where he's cleaning shit at night. And every time he'd show up, he's like half asleep. And we're like, dude, let's go do your thing. And that's how Violence started.
Yeah.
So he's all, I'm going to get a band called Destruction or something. I don't know. Well, you're out, dude.
Yeah.
So like, you know, and then they came in the studio and started rehearsing. And that's when it all started, dude. You know, Violence. And then Forbidden Evil, we kicked them out because I think Dean spilled my bong or something. They got Dean, right? You know, just kids didn't know. And then Forbidden Evil came.
No shit.
After that, with Rob,
mm-hmm.
and then we kicked them out. And then Fungo Mungo. So we had all 3 of those bands, and that's when the Twisted and Deformed came back in '88 with Forbidden.
Wow.
And that's when what I was trying to get to before all that happened was eventually we got a Slack Babith tribute band because I was left-handed.
Oh.
Paul Bostaff's idea. So I was talking about, like, you know, the general.
Yeah.
Paul Bostaff was, do that. No, dude. That's sour. That note you're hitting. He was like the epitome of that. I'm all, what do you mean that's sour? I'm all, oh yeah, it is. You know.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah.
So we did Slack Babith. You know, we were the first band.
A little playing words since you're backwards on your guitar.
Yeah, you know, it's just we just made it like I was Tony Baloney.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And he was Bill Montgomery Ward's.
Yeah.
And then we had Geezer Butt Liquor, which was Craig LaCicero. Craig played bass, actually. Yeah, before all that. And then that's when we did the Slack Babith thing.
Check this out. I want to stop you guys real quick. I'm Robert number 2.
Yeah, hey Robert.
As he stepped out to go to the bathroom, I'm going to ask a question that I would like to ask of you. Is when I first met you, it was in the old Reno days. You know what I mean?
Right, when it was good.
And man, no, when you were playing here like with Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene was really good.
Yeah, it was so great. So like I would really like to know, like, with all of your knowledge of everything that like you've been through, you've seen it. You were there with that shit. You were with the shit that, man, I wanted to be exactly where you were. We're the same age, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And I wanted to be there, dude. That's right. That's where I wanted to be, but
right.
I was in Hidden Valley, running from cops, being stupid.
Right. Out in the Central Valley, pretty much doing the same shit.
You know, but
sometimes going to the Bay whenever we could.
What do you think about the scene today, and how can we fucking make it work and fucking make it blow up, dude? Like it was back then. Like the Knitting Factory.
Man,
I really want to make it explode, and it's about the music, you know.
It's the venues, dude. It's what it comes down to, because the Bay Area went through that in the 90s after they lost all those. You know, if you can find cool venues that'll help.
So do you
help
think
the
it's
local
like
bands.
Is it like a money? It's a money thing then.
Yeah,
really, when it comes down to it. If there's a venue that'll put out money and believe in it.
Yeah,
whatever,
people that would do
probably
that,
Whiskey
though.
did back in the day before all the pay-to-play stuff.
With
I wrote
Killers.
a paper on that shit in college, dude.
It was Debbie Obano, you had Wes Robinson, you had all those people that would put their time and their money into it.
You just need the Alturas.
That would be my
like the Alturas would be good if they did it right.
Number 1 is back.
Yeah,
excellent.
It's hard to say how can you get that back.
No.
Keep going.
It's hard to say how you can get that back when it was like, it's like saying, how can we get that 85 vibe back in the Bay Area?
Yeah, no,
I don't think you can.
I'm not saying like get it back though, but like tap into that energy, because there was that energy, there was that camaraderie,
all those bands,
though there was that such insane amount of, like you guys were saying, the guitars are sitting back. Oh, did you fuck up? Is that dude better than that?
Yeah,
dude? You know what I mean? Even though there was that level of fucking fuck them dudes, there was still that level of holy shit in your own being. You know what I mean? Holy fuck, man!
I think it's just
they're good.
Yeah,
They're
good.
They're fucking good.
Absolutely.
They're great. And that you know. But I mean, how do we get that fucking through that like animosity and shit? There was still that camaraderie of the scene.
Yeah, it's always going to be
people and of the fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's that brotherly love, though. I think brotherly, sisterly love.
Even when fucking bands used to go out and fucking wait for somebody to fucking tag up their fucking poster, and then they would go cover it with theirs. Right. Even in you know, when there was that amount of
competitiveness.
Right.
Do you know why? Do you know why it's not like? Do you know why the scene's not like that anymore? Facebook.
Instagram.
Fucked it all up.
Yeah.
There's no mystique anymore. Yeah. It's like this dude's taking a shit at 3
Well, the internet.
Everything is so too transparent.
There's no mystique anymore. Everybody knows everything about everybody.
We got all of our stuff off.
Remember I was saying, you don't see fucking flyers, you don't see posters.
No, you don't see that shit anymore.
You didn't know what the bands looked like in some instances in the early days. You didn't know.
And that's kind of how it was. That's kind of how it was. Because we were just like, you know, Environment at the time, like what Scott's talking about at the time. We were just a new band.
Yeah.
And we were just 2010. And we're like, okay, what venues are we going to play? Knuckleheads and blah, blah. And then Knitting Factory happened. The Knitting Factory happened. And we're like, oh my God. Like, this is like our.
Mess it up.
And our first show we played there was like thousands of people.
No shit, yeah.
Tickets were free.
Fuck.
Free.
Yeah.
To the public.
But they knew that, you know, because playing in a bar, right? Because they had a bar. So they're going to get some money back.
They're going to make a lot of money on that bar.
Wait, you're talking about Knitting Factory?
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
Because I've done that. Because I played a show years and years ago with my second band I played with. We did a all-free show with those guys, Cynical. They came to the Knitting Factory, and we had 6 bands. And we started, kind of later in the afternoon and just played. And the venue was free. But the venue was able to get their money back from the bar, from all the people that were.
It wasn't even about that though. It was like they would feed us like kings.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, they were
treated everybody.
Yeah,
it was a buffet. It was a buffet.
Dean was the manager at the time, and I love that.
Where the hell did he go?
He just kind of disappeared, dude. Shit. Then he did the Cargo after that for a while.
I'll pay him to come back, dude.
And then Gary Pike took over. Who does the one in Boise?
Yeah,
and that's why the one in Boise, Idaho, was like even better.
Yeah,
I think that we played there, and dude, we were
about to
nobody, and we went there, and dude, it was like 2,000 people there. We did autographs after the show.
Yeah, see that's
the
cool.
monitor chick was on the side. You're like.
See, I gotta yell at Doug in the back of the fucking stage.
She was right there, dude.
Yeah,
right there, and you're like, perfect sound.
Yeah,
everybody loved us.
So you're not like you're doing a juggling act, especially as a drummer.
But like the first show, one of the first shows we did in Reno was at the Knitting Factory with Embarrassment, and
I think we played with you.
I think so.
I think it was Nevermeet was playing,
and there
with
was
you
like 1,500 people there because they gave us 2,000 tickets to hand out.
Yeah,
and that's how you're supposed to do it,
right?
Yeah,
you're not supposed to pay to play.
Well, not only that, because this goes back to what Ryan was saying with the bar. Like when you're handing out that many, even if you get half of that, your bar till is fucking massive.
Right.
You're getting
the
fucking.
Still gets,
they're getting their cut. They're getting their cut.
There's no reason,
and it's not like they're paying. They weren't paying.
And
us.
there's no reason you have to pay to play.
No,
because they're just doing that because you're a whore.
Right? Yeah.
You're a fucking whore.
That's right. Yep.
Basically.
Pretty much. But it's not LA where you're gonna. It's like fucking the whiskey where you go. Oh, it's like $600 to play here.
Right. Right.
So the problem is pay to play.
Yeah.
I fucking hate the pay to play bullshit, dude.
It's bullshit. Because they find these whores that they know they're gonna do it for every big gig.
Well, whiskey's the only one who's probably allowed to fucking do that because everybody else would be go, you kick fucking rocks.
Well, Bill Graham, like rewind to Bill Graham era, he hated it.
Yeah.
Before he died.
Bill Graham did a lot of good for a lot of bands.
Yes, he did.
And what I can remember was he
was why didn't he teach the people underneath him that took over?
He tried.
He made the bands big and not him.
It's fucking greed. It's what it comes down to. It's goddamn fucking greed, dude.
Like he managed like Journey.
Yeah.
Santana, Eddie Money. Look what he did with Eddie Money.
Everybody's heard of Bill Graham,
Journey. I mean, Journey was huge in the Bay Area. Played every day on the green.
Yeah.
But he proved it. You could get the table that everybody. There was a seat at the table for everybody. There was a way to make.
But he hated pay to play.
Yeah, but it's greed.
He didn't like exploitation.
And that really didn't start till the 90s.
Yeah.
And after he died in that helicopter crash.
It
was Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then it was Bill Graham that died.
In Secession. I remember when
he pulled a Kobe.
Huh?
Pulled a Kobe
before Kobe.
Before Kobe.
That happened. Way before.
Kobe pulled.
Yeah, before that happened.
Yeah,
that was a shocker too. It was like the whole Bay Area.
That was the day the music died.
For the Bay Area, in a lot of ways,
really, because he was.
Where'd that song? When did that song come out? Before that?
A long time before that.
Oh yeah. That was about Buddy Holly.
Yeah, that was about like
that was a sad story actually.
Yeah.
I followed
but
that
it's kind of the same thing. If you really think about it, Stevie Ray Vaughan died,
right?
And then you had Bill Graham died. It was kind of identical.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, because it was in the same year.
Yeah.
And you just lost two of the biggest.
You're gonna go into some conspiracy.
I can get into that.
Some fucking.
John.
Got a tinfoil hat on right now. Let's get my tinfoil. Where the fuck is my glass?
Tinfoil hat? I don't need no tinfoil hat.
Zero. We got chats we haven't been fucking going off of.
No, well, it's been mostly
no, there's
Jolt and Scotty.
Who's Zero? Zero? That's you? Get out of here, dude.
Well, then we got to get into how I signed Machine Head.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You signed him?
Yeah, I'm in the Machine Head book by Joel MacGyver.
Joe McIver,
Craig,
the journalist.
Craig Cicero turned me on to this guy. Joe McIver's an English writer that does everybody from Glenn Hughes
Metallica, everybody.
Pantera, Kerry King.
Is he an Englishman in New York?
He's an Englishman.
Yes.
He actually called me on
Sting
the phone.
songs.
He's a very, very well-known journalist, rock journalist. Yeah.
But I talk about all this shit in the beginning of that book, Inside the Machine. And we're at Foundations Forum 1990. It was a convention.
What does that sound? It's like the livestock here.
No,
they would have it every year.
It's where you get signed.
You could take anybody could take their tape and their talent.
Soundgarden would play there. Pantera,
like Battle of the Bands, but you're not performing.
1990.
No. It was a big convention for 3 days.
Yeah,
no shit.
So Body Count was there.
No shit.
Soundgarden was there.
Yeah.
Fucking Suicidal. And everybody from your. I met Michael Schenker there. Dio there.
Wow.
Everybody you can name. I would be walking up. Like
why don't they do that
Paul
anymore?
Di'Anno.
Exactly. That's my point. Is why don't they do that anymore?
Paul Di'Anno.
Like
Paul Di'Anno, yeah. And they would have this compilation of like if you had a demo and they put it on the demo on a CD.
Yeah.
So your demo, I think my singer has it somewhere from Annihilation. Trouble was there.
He still has it.
Like this shit was
book?
golden, dude.
Yeah.
We met Emilio Estevez in the streets.
Oh, you were telling me that. Wow. Emilio. Yeah.
He gave us. I'm all, hey.
Yeah, we're
like 3 a.m, dude. After, and we're walking by this bar and we see Emilio Estevez.
And he was like, "Don't touch my fucking bike."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm all, fuck you.
Fuck your bike too.
He's all, hey, you guys want some shots?
Yeah.
So we went in the bar. He bought us like 3 shots each.
No shit.
And then we left. Right? Wow. That's how it was.
And
in
then
LA,
he did
right?
Mighty Ducks.
Wow.
But the thing was,
the cool thing you met him, you know?
Yeah, it was really
cool.
It was cool, and it's a great memory. And all my
Charlie Sheen was drinking tiger's blood.
Charlie Sheen was in the back room doing some good shit, you know.
Man,
Illuminati. But the Foundations Forum.
But the thing was, everybody was on coke and meth.
Well, that's a norm. That's
so
norm.
I was like, you know, well, oh yeah, Emil, Breakfast Club. You know, where's Molly Ringwald?
Right, yeah.
That's what she looked like.
She's still chasing that line down Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
That's spitting on Zetro. You know, we're all wired and spitting.
Oh,
on his
tell
head.
that one. That was fucking great too.
We were just totally amped out of our minds, and we saw Zetro down there. Spitting on. He's all. This is like when they were totally gacked out.
Remind him who Zetro is.
Steven Zetro from Exodus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they were like that was like probably what album was that? Force of Habit. Mind you, the name.
Okay.
Right. So everybody's gacked out, and he was gacked out, and he was down below us, and we were like up, and I think I was with Kenny Donovan. He was in our band.
The drummer, right?
Yeah.
It was his birthday today, isn't it?
Yeah, but he didn't wish me a happy birthday. It's so fucking
happy birthday.
So
what goes around comes around.
Yeah, right. That's how I look at it.
Mine's on Christmas.
No,
0
It's on Christmas, just so
AD.
I know when your birthday is. But we're like my friend. The whole thing. We went over there. I was totally sick. Right. Like total flu. It felt like COVID. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, you had COVID before
1990,
COVID.
dude. Right. And I had a head cold from the flight, and I was like miserable. I'm like, how am I going to even do this? So I called my buddy up. I'm like, hey, dude, bring some. You got any shit? Because he was living in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And he brought some like pure like Breaking Bad shit.
And where were you guys at? Long Beach or
we're at
LA?
We were at the Marriott, I think.
Oh, in Long Beach.
And there was the Foundations
Long
Forum,
Beach. Yeah, that's right across from the beach.
I think that's where it was.
I stayed there.
I could be wrong.
Love that place.
I don't even remember.
Why don't they have? I keep asking the same question. Why they stop having it? Was it not profitable or something?
I don't really know, but it went on for like almost 10 years.
Yeah, they should have just kept
like
that going.
Soundgarden would play there.
They should have just. It was like Comic Cons. They should have just kept that shit going.
Like all those bands would play their Pantera.
If they knew it was just on the horizon.
Oh no, they still do it.
Body
it's called
Count.
NAMM.
Body Count.
Yeah.
Dude,
but NAMM doesn't allow you to trade your stuff
it's
on the
not
floor,
the
does
same
it?
though.
No, but it's so NAMM's just it's the product coming out the next year, which is great because all the musicians end up going there anyway.
Well, we destroyed all that.
Coachella.
No, don't
shit.
bring them. Yeah.
we destroyed all that for people at the Foundations Forum because they didn't really have security at the time.
Right.
You know, so here I'm at the bar. Rocky George from Suicidal's over here.
Yeah.
Mickey D's over here.
Yeah.
Dio's walking down here.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Paul Diano's by the wall.
Motherfucker.
Lemmy's hanging out with Kip Winger.
Right.
I'm like, hey, Kip, you want some dip?
Yeah.
He's like, I gave Paul Diano $1. I'm like, Paul, you need $1? He's like, yeah, I need $1. You know, I met Dio. Best dude ever to meet, him and his wife.
Approachable. There's a couple.
Holy cool.
We have a few Dio stories on the podcast, actually.
Met Shanker, but the coolest dude was Ernie Cunningham from Body Count.
Yeah. Really?
He's all like little short dude because he was a lefty. So I'm like, we started talking about left-handed guitars.
He is a lefty.
Right? And he's all, dude, you want to come up to our room? I'm all, fuck yeah, I want to come up to your room, dude.
You don't know what's about to happen.
And then we get up to his room. Right? And it was like that.
See, Chuck was way too willing. I would have been way too off.
This is even better.
I don't know, man.
This is even better because everybody's on
man.
cocaine and meth, right?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
I would have totally done.
So we're going up to his room. We just talked about, like, you know, we're into Rainbow Rising and
you guys listen to Metallica, the Wall,
all that shit. You know, he actually produced Black Sabbath album.
He did.
Oh no shit!
Their worst album known to man, called Forbidden. He actually produced that album.
I know. I don't even know about it. That's how fucking great it is.
So we go up to his room, right?
Yeah.
He opens the door and fucking Heineken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere.
As far as the eye can see.
You're talking about like 3,000 bottles.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, I'm in heaven, dude.
They're all pissed.
And then
so awesome.
Right?
He's awesome.
Right?
He's playing the poor man.
I've been here for a while.
No.
He's just out there just playing it. I'm just, this simple guy.
This is before they had security and shit.
Right, yeah.
So, like, I'm like, oh my God.
I know that fucked everything up.
So, I'm all, you want to do a line?
Sure.
He's all, yeah, let's do a line. So, it was like party in there for 2 days more.
Jesus Christ.
2 days, dude. And there was like,
what'd you guys talk about? I can't even. I'd have been like I would have been like a half hour in. I'd be like, hey,
dude, guitar.
Cocaine.
Jesus Christ.
It was Ernie, dude, from Body Count. He's clean and sober now because of me.
Yeah. It was because of that fucking night.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, so
he was like, I hung out with Jeff. That was the last fucking night. I wouldn't do it again.
Jeff Stewart, fuck you.
Yeah.
So Heineken for days, dude. That's all I remember. You know, it was just like shitloads of it. And we had Jack and all that, the bottles and all that. But
yeah.
It was a great way that he
women,
came in
there was women everywhere, just
yeah.
coming in and out. It was like Motley Crue, dude.
All right, yeah.
For 3 days, dude, just party. And then after that one, they stopped doing that because of us.
Right, yeah, I'm sure.
Because we were up in the elevators and just going down. And
they're like, your checkout time was like 46 hours ago.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think that's why it kind of like dissipated.
Yeah.
Like Ron was asking why.
Yeah.
Because everyone was getting crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was getting too much. That was the line. That was the line. The line was drawn and you guys crashed.
It was like a safety hazard for the community, I guess, right?
It was like Van Halen and Motley Crue on tour, basically.
Right.
Imagine that. It was just insane, dude.
Yeah.
Tom Araya, you're smoking weed with him, and like all those dudes were there.
Yeah.
It was the shit.
The singularity of
and you're watching these new bands like Pantera perform Cowboys from Hell.
Right.
You're like, what?
Because you're shopping your band,
so
it was this cauldron, and everybody would show up, and you would see like who really had it.
Yeah. But there was this band in '93 when we were there, and they were called Machine Head.
Uh-huh.
So I had my thing. I'm going out the door. I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
And I see Rob Flynn.
Yeah.
Sitting on. I can't get in, dude.
Right. Yeah.
I have no money. I can't get in. I'm all here, bro.
And you gave him your pass.
Gave him my pass.
Oh, there you go.
I said, here, bro. Welcome to it. Because you'd go there and you would promote your band and try to get signed.
Right.
And they got signed that day.
No shit.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They got signed that
Machine
day.
Head.
What?
Machine Head.
Because you gave him your pass. That is awesome.
And they went to dinner with the executive.
Yeah.
Chris Contos even talks about it. And they went there and everything. And Rob never talks about that, of course.
No, he doesn't.
But that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I was like, yeah.
Right.
I was done. Yeah, I'm going to the airport.
I've been up for 3 days. Take my pass.
And I see
blood is Heineken.
Please, I'll pay you for it.
Bottles clinking.
But But here's the thing. I actually always supported Machine Head. Even like I'd see him at like shows, and I'd be like, "You got a demo?" And here's a demo. And I'm all, and he's like, he was just always like intimidated by me back in the day. I don't know why, but we were like best friends and shit.
Well, that was like our generation. Like Machine Head was definitely the top of when I started.
Dude, that's like the best album ever, dude.
Dude, they had a few.
Yeah,
they had a few.
But that Burn My Eyes with Chris Contos.
Oh, dude, Davidian.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That whole album.
Try deciphering Davidian,
for
kids.
growing up on that album,
right.
And watching him play that shit.
Yeah.
And he would give me like the pre-productions before on my birthday at Berkeley Square.
I wish you would still have those.
All that shit, dude.
God.
And then they got huge after that.
Yeah.
They got huge and they declined and all that.
They're still huge in my.
But they actually lost everything on Burning Red at that point.
Right.
Like he was at
that's the roller coaster. You're not gonna have that. You're not gonna have that up all the time.
Well, Dreadpool actually came to him and said, "Hey, can you sing for us?" At one point, and he's all no.
Oh, when the singer died. After the singer died.
Yeah, and he was just always loyal to like his vision.
Yeah,
which is great.
That must have been really hard to like think about that. Though,
like me and Harold we're like, how'd you hear Machine Head from Deep Purple? He's all, I never heard that album.
Really?
Who said that?
Really, whatever, dude.
Who said that?
Rob.
Oh, really?
Right.
Machine Head.
I always wondered about that because I always, like most heads, figured that was the Deep Purple reference because it was the title of the album.
No, he says he's never heard of that album.
Was it a reference to drugs then?
I think he's full of shit.
Really?
And me and Harold were like, "You're full of shit."
So,
dude.
so what was the title?
I'm gonna name my next band Space
Where
Truckin'.
did he get it from?
He said he got it from
Space Truckin', right?
Yeah.
Right.
I always said he said it came to him one night.
It came to him one night.
But he used to go around and watch a lot of bands, like Neurosis and stuff like that, and Biohazard,
right?
And still
he picked up influences,
Oh
yeah.
So
everybody does.
It's like Boston baked beans, though. You're not gonna give out that fucking recipe. The dog has it.
But I would be like, I'd be all like, Tully, that's where I got it from.
Yeah.
That's how I would be.
Yeah.
But Rob, no.
Everybody's different.
He plays little games.
It works for him now.
Yeah.
So it seriously does. It works for him. Well, that keeps the mystique. That's the whole thing. You got to keep the mystique.
But me and Harold were all like, "There's no mystique, dude. Smoke on the water, bro."
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Just you just got to be like call it as it is.
I'm more of a straightforward guy too. Right. I'll fucking tell you how it is. Like
Me
if somebody
too.
comes up and says, "I heard this from somebody," I was like, "Well, that's not actually how it went. It went like this. Like this is actually what happened."
Right.
But that's how metal usually is because it's kind of like a cauldron like that. Everything just kind of gets burned away. Or just most of the truth is there.
Yeah, but why? Why?
Because it's harsh. It's a harsh environment. It's a harsh type of music. It takes people with a certain type of bent to even like get into it and stay into it.
Yeah,
man, you got to take dedication, and as your body gives out, you got to put more of your will into it.
Well, that makes sense because when Metallica did that, Monsters, was it Monsters in Us or Where We Are Monsters?
Some kind of monster.
Some kind of monster.
I wish that they didn't do that.
Well, see, that's where the split is.
Me too.
That's where the split is.
When Lars's dad called it, Lars's dad was like, "I would delete that." Like, dude, go back to your roots.
Delete it.
Right.
Go back to your roots. Go back to your punk roots.
No, but I think
your brothers
for
and
me
sisters.
personally, because me being too much of like an introvert, like that's great. I love that because it shows a different side of them that I didn't expect. And I'm like, all right, well, we're not fucking all fucked up, or I'm not the only one who's fucked up. There's plenty of, and
there's a different side of the individual.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But it shows that in each individual member of Metallica. It shows a different side from everybody.
The whole thing was not dealing with death, basically, with that show.
Yeah.
Because he never dealt with Cliff Burton's death.
Right. No.
And that he looked up to him like immensely because he knew about harmonies and shit like that.
Right.
And they never really achieved. All that you hear is from Cliff, even on the Black Album.
That's all resonates.
He taught him all that harmony and the
it was like their older brother, I would
suspect. Because Cliff was a guitar player.
Yeah.
He wasn't
He didn't just play
player.
bass.
He was like Geddy Lee's actually like a guitar player,
Right? Yeah.
And he was into,
and you
like,
could hear that in the music,
because
it's not a bass playing.
You don't
it's not the
develop-
bass playing standard. It's like
as a just 4-string guy. I mean, you don't get that level of depth just by just pursuing that,
right?
Just on itself.
Exactly.
I mean,
You're not going to
get that. You have to bring all the other instruments into that to understand music in any form and have that language to communicate.
But this goes back to the drummers the same way. Like when drummers play, other instruments, guitar, where they're great writers and they just write guitar and then they're like, I'll play drums, and then they're phenomenal. And so,
Charlie Benante from Anthrax, he writes all their shit.
Right. Yeah.
He's phenomenal, dude.
You gotta have that. Mike, back to Mike Orris locally, Mike Orris. That guy was a fucking genius. And
phenomenal, dude.
That's somebody who I look up to here.
Me too.
Locally.
I look up to him because I've been here just as long as I've been here as the Bay Area.
Right.
And that's who I ran into December with Mark Moots. And, Mike Orris.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, these dudes are phenomenal.
Unreal.
Dark Carnival with Tim.
Carnival with Tim,
that was like the first bands I ran into.
That was the first local show I went to.
My first local show too.
Yeah, at the Hard Hat over on Greg Street.
Yeah. So
Isaac blowing fire
barrel, dude. The beer
so
barrel.
Again, it's the fans and individuals as much as it is the bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can honestly say that.
Like James Hetfield backstage at the Justice All at the Omni, Justice for All tour. He was like just hanging out backstage, and some dude runs up to him and he's all like, "Dude, play my guitar." He's like, "I don't even want to see that." And we just start talking about his girlfriend or life.
Name my first child.
I was like, "Oh my God, my girlfriend."
Right.
He was having relation problems.
Right.
I'm good with that.
Stuff like that.
And that's hard to do that. Especially because you don't know who the fuck do I talk to about this?
He was just on tour for 3 years.
Right.
Dude.
Yeah. There's nobody to talk to.
Play my guitar.
I'm talking to this roadie who's trying to get head from this fucking groupie over here.
Fuck off, little man.
But the thing you have to look at it from the point of view of the fan, though, is for them it's Saturday night, and they're always going to remember that moment.
Right,
so while you're there, and it's really distracted with the woman, the good-looking woman and the drugs and all that. You got to remember that kid is looking up to you.
Yeah,
to a degree. You got to let them know, hey, I got,
That's hard to do in the moment, though.
It is.
In the moment.
But at the same time, man.
You think about it.
There's hella cocaine.
You think about it later, but you're like.
The kid doesn't really know about all that shit just
No,
yet.
he doesn't.
No.
Right?
Yeah,
so you got to be cool with him like that. Just for 2 seconds, hey, man, okay, I got to go. I really got to go because my woman's here.
Yeah, but be transparent. Be open.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah,
be transparent about it.
Yeah, be
open.
open.
Spend time with just to go, hey, man, just so that they get that
Watch
moment
Almost
with
Famous. You'll get it.
To a point, yeah. But also remember, because you were that kid.
Exactly, Almost
You
Famous.
were that kid, and you ran into that musician, and that musician took that time with you. He wanted to take off and do his drugs and bang his chick.
Right.
But he took that time for just 2 seconds.
Even that, yep.
Yeah, and that's all I would ever ask any musician out there.
Fuck yes, 100%.
I didn't care. I just knew it right in front of your ass. I didn't care.
Well,
back then.
Yeah.
Like, you really didn't care back then.
Back then, but
we smoked a big caviar before Slack Babith, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we went on. Me, Bostaff, Craig, and all those dudes, big caviar joint.
Yeah.
You could
and there
do
was,
that then.
Rob Flynn in the middle of the crowd.
Yeah. You could do that.
Staring at us.
Yeah, but you could do that now. You're not going to get the stare. You're going to be like, oh, this guy's smoking pot.
No. I mean, you're just sitting there basically nowadays, you get certain people, they bring their kids to a show, and all ages shows. You know what I'm saying? So you run into that element. That's what I'm talking about. For the most part, back then, it was anything. You drank and smoked, and so did they.
You're right.
They did whatever drugs in front of you. There was
they're throwing beers out there.
Lemmy was the king of that.
Exactly.
Dude.
There was not
care.
it was a different time.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I think they're getting up to even Dave Mustaine. He's posted a couple videos recently of him passing out pics to little kids. He sees it or goes out.
Don't be rude to
he'll
your
like,
fans
hey,
ever. Just always take the time for it. Yeah,
no.
always
Dave,
be cool.
Dave Mustaine's story at Ruthie's.
Oh, okay.
You want to hear that one?
I would love to hear that one.
Dave Mustaine. Right after he quit Metallica.
Yeah. Fuck is
He came back to Ruthie's.
No. He didn't quit Metallica.
Oh, what? He got fired.
Yeah, he got fired.
Got fired.
Yeah.
Because he almost killed people driving.
Yeah.
I would hear stories about his
bus?
drinking and driving in a van.
Oh yeah, he was my hero.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Dave?
be Dave Mustaine. Yeah, he was my hero.
Yeah, he.
Every headbanger loved Dave Mustaine.
Dude. Yeah.
He wrote them all.
So
he wrote them all.
The first show, like at Ruthie's, man, he has Dave Ellison He had Kerry King was in the band.
Shit.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
and he was walking through the crowd, and he's all like, "Hey, hey man, can you give me some Coke?" Like, yeah, I can get.
Dave
I'm
was?
all, yeah, I'm like, I can get you some Coke, dude. So me and my headbanger buddies got him an 8-ball. Dude, and he did like the whole 8-ball before we went on. He's
Holy shit!
so that's how it was back then, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kerry King.
Right. Yeah.
Kerry King was in Slayer, but he was in Megadeth at the time, and he learned everything from Dave, dude.
Yeah.
Like he was like totally green, you know. Like Slayer wasn't even out yet.
Kerry was, huh?
They didn't even have the album.
Did
Right,
Nick a stage persona, how he stood? You know, did Nick most of that from Mustaine? Kind of
I don't see that when I see
No.
so especially Kerry King now. I don't see that.
Yeah.
Like I don't see a lot of influence. Like Kerry King got his own style.
Yeah,
Right.
He got his own style. He might have picked up some things from Dave, but it was
the intricate, you know, the intricate,
Yeah.
parts of everything.
right.
you
So
know?
like
Because he was like
the playing
jazz
side.
metal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
he went
nobody
off of
even
Mary
heard of
versus
that shit.
yeah.
Right.
Off of
You
Mixed
know, and
references
he
that.
was this is like 84, 85 maybe.
Dude, he had Gar Samuelson on the drums.
Gar Samuelson was
gnarly.
amazing.
And then Chris Poland. Another one of those
Chris Poland.
Mark Varney shrapnel record guys that we were
Right.
talking about earlier.
Yeah, but these are shows I saw with Kerry King.
Oh,
And
okay,
he had
sorry,
this,
I got off
he had,
track.
actually
Yeah,
had
talking
this
about
other
early
drummer
Megadeth.
named Lee Roush.
Lee
And they would
Roush.
play the Stone. And I'm like, oh my God, they were amazing. And he had sandbags with barbed wire all over his drum
What the
kits.
fuck? Yeah, like he's
World
run
War
through.
III.
Yeah.
Dude, it was phenomenal. And they play.
How did it sound?
It sounded amazing, dude.
He ended up bloody at the end of the show.
But then.
The roadies probably hated him.
Yeah. What do I mean? I gotta set this up.
Stack the shit over here
Yeah.
and then stack the
I'd
shit
hate to
over
be his
here,
drum
and then
tech.
stack the
Right?
shit.
Yeah.
But he was all endorsed by BC Rich, and he had all that.
Nice.
you know,
Yeah,
at the time.
Yeah.
And he wanted, and the reason why he became fast is because Brian Lou's all like, "I hope your shit's faster than Metallica," and it wasn't. It was like Sabbathy.
Right.
So that night they sped everything up like 110, dude. So that's why that first album is.
Is this
fast.
some of the songs now like
Kill It Is My Business. Was that the
Yeah,
that
that's
the
the reason why all that.
It's
shit's
ridiculously
Really?
fast. That's why
Fast.
we don't play it live.
Like Dave Ellison.
So even on the recording, they sped up the recordings.
No.
No.
they just
I'm
play it
saying-
faster.
No. That
I'm
what
saying
you
when they
hear
were-
is what you get.
Yeah.
Oh,
When they
really?
were
No, they
rehearsing,
played
just
that
played
shit.
it that
Oh, okay.
way.
Okay. So that okay.
They played it like Sabbathy, like you know, like
Yeah.
looking
Listen to
down the-
mechanics. There's more going on in that song than like what's you know. Not only is it like the Four Horsemen,
Yeah,
but
well,
also
I'm
you
more
can
of the
hear where they
Four
went.
Horsemen type.
Right, so am I. But the idea is listen how fast it is.
Yeah.
Right, and that was
He
basically
did that on purpose,
Yeah,
just to be like,
Yeah,
hey, I'm
but
gonna
it's
play
always
this
like that with them. They put Metallica to something, Megadeth to something, and they always bring
It was,
in.
yeah, it
They
was
were the
competition.
first rival band.
Yeah, they
Well,
are
yeah,
the great rivalry.
Dave
of
was
metal,
pissed.
one of
Dave
them,
was
yeah.
fucking pissed,
Yeah.
and understandably, he was fucking pissed.
But look what he's done, man. I mean, with that I don't know if it was
It
a
took
good
him like
thing or a
30
bad
years
thing,
to get
but
over that.
This
though.
comes
I
back
don't
to the
even think he's over it,
rejection,
though.
just like Paul.
Right.
So just like Paul, this is a
Exactly.
rejection that drives that fucking
I know.
fire and adds just fuel. You know what? All right, go
Absolutely.
fuck
You
yourself.
want to do better.
Yeah, watch me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he did. That Megadeth is. I'm a way better fan at Megadeth than Metallica. And
I am
all the
too.
headbangers
Well, pound for
too.
pound, riff
I am.
for riff.
You know,
I am,
actually
yeah.
like
Yeah.
look at
Yeah.
it and go otherwise.
I mean,
you
they
know?
were phenomenal, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd watch them and go like, how the fuck's he doing that? You know?
Yeah, that's
then
that's
when they
the
got
first
Marty-
song. The first song, yeah, that's the first song I played on guitar was "Sweating Bullets." Megadeth was always my. I
Well,
always
I'm talking like Peace Cells. Dude.
I know you're talking about but when I
Yeah.
started playing
Yeah.
it, like that's what I grew up with that
Yeah.
and like cryptic writings and stuff
Right,
like
right,
that.
right,
Like
right.
that
The
was
90s
mine.
version of Megadeth.
which are great albums.
They're great
They are.
albums. They're great
Brilliant
albums.
writing.
But to me, like when he got Marty and Nick Menza,
That was a completely different
that
band.
was
That is
shit.
Yeah, oh
He-
yeah.
He was still trying to prove a point.
Rust in
Right.
peace,
You know.
kids. Check that
'Cause
out.
that album
Yeah, yeah.
before that was horrible.
Textbook.
Yeah.
Textbook.
I mean, it was okay with Chuck Bueller or whatever on drums.
Yeah.
On So
Jeff
Far, So
Young.
Good. So, yeah.
And a lot of those are old demo songs. That what I was trying to
Hook and
tell
Mouth
you
is really
about.
good on that one too.
They used to play that back in '82.
Yeah.
You know, that's like one of my favorite riffs ever is "Set the World on Fire." You know, that's like I love that riff. But they would play that with the, with the bob wire and the sandbags.
Right.
with Lee Roush on drums.
Yeah.
Kerry King on guitar.
Solid trip.
Ellison and at the Stone. And I'm like, this is the band, dude.
Right.
Fuck Metallica.
Right, yeah.
And that's what they were doing,
But you can see how the productions were getting bigger
and then Kerry,
bigger, right?
After that, Kerry went back to Slayer, right?
Yeah. So they had to keep re-upping
yes.
it. You know, had to keep upping it.
I don't know what happened.
So all of us, the
That's
guys
all right,
are standing
though.
around going, how do you even
we're
keep
good
up
with that, though.
right?
But it was phenomenal to see.
I couldn't imagine him sticking with Megadeth.
No, but it was phenomenal to see back then. You know, you're like, and then he came out with some weird deeds. Like what?
Well, you always test the waters.
Musicians have to grow.
Musicians have to grow. They're always going to do that.
And like Robert Fripp, the great guitar player, said, he goes, it's not the musician that chooses the instrument; it's the music itself that chooses the environment that chooses the musician.
Right.
Right. So his environment changes.
But
environment,
it changes.
His outlook.
It changes each year.
Yeah, but it probably was pretty not a toxic in relationship for him.
Yeah.
It probably got really, really bad because thinking about that level of playing that you have to keep doing, and then you have to re-up it.
Yeah,
it's like
once you set a bar.
Once somebody else sets a bar.
Not only re-upping it, not only re-upping it, but going back.
You have to keep going higher and higher.
You have to keep going higher, but the hard part, I think, is the split where you have to go back.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going back, and you're still reliving that whole journey throughout, and you want to move forward, with the progression.
Right.
But with the fan base, you have to please the fans,
or just stop and do something else.
That's what it did.
That's
much probably more healthier thing for him.
Yeah.
That was the thing is like sometimes relationships with musicians, they'll probably work together. Oh, you guys, like if you're listening out there, you guys should work together.
Yeah.
Because you guys wrote some of the best shit ever. But the idea is that musicians, they kind of go through that, as friendships.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But until somebody passes away from this world, where that window is always open. Yeah. It should always be looked at. Right. It's like with any good friends. You go through a lot of shit, and sometimes you can't stand being around each other because of soulish.
Oh yeah,
touring,
or even before.
You got all those outside influences, right?
Getting in a band where you're like
somebody.
Yeah, you got all that money and all those outside influences, and again, that bar gets higher and higher, right? That burning ring. That cauldron that you have to leap through gets smaller.
I think you're absolutely right about the bow staff.
You can do it.
What?
Not saying that you can't. You can do it, but
check
you
this
have
out.
to be aware of
That's what I'm doing now.
The rejection?
Yeah, the rejection. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
He has a resentment with me and Rob Flynn. They both do.
That's fine. That's understandable.
And
it wouldn't have led them to where they are at now if they didn't have that.
Right.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
I was the master.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that.
Yeah.
Master manipulator.
They thought I was just a dick. But I was actually going.
Well, technically you were, but
I was.
But it was to.
I had no problem with that.
But you had a point, though, and that's the thing. You had a point.
I was the older brother.
You had a point, though.
Yeah.
You were a dick, but it was a point. That's
the point.
That's
Is
my persona is the same way. I'm like, this is the. You don't like it. That's fine, but you will find your way. Yeah. You'll find your way.
And they're two of the biggest successful people in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and guess what? You're going to look back and you're going to look, I know that fucking dick.
Yeah.
And I am where I'm at now. It's not 100% based on what your rejection was, but it was the stepping stone to the steps that led them to where they're at now.
Right. Because I remember jamming with Rob in his room when he was before Forbidden Evil.
Yeah.
Like we would hang out and I would bring over records. Like he doesn't talk about this either. Like Uli Roth, Electric Sun.
Yeah, Uli.
And he had the best ear. Dude, Rob had the best ear.
No shit.
Like he was a really good guitar player. Like, and he would learn Earthquake from Uli Roth, which is pretty hard to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, really?
Yeah, he was a quick learner.
And I was like, fuck, Yeah. And I was like,
his writing's great.
I just knew right then and there.
Phenomenal.
I even talk about that in the book, Inside the Machine.
Yeah.
And I'm all like, he was phenomenal. I knew right then and there. And then he got in Forbidden Evil. And then he would do these little like lines. And he just had a killer picking hand, dude. Great songwriter, And then he did the Violence thing where he pretended he had a broken arm. And then he's all...
What happened?
I've never heard this story.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
well,
kids, this is going to be good.
They're rehearsing at our studio, Fast and Furious Studios.
Okay.
This is probably like 86.
All right.
They were just young kids, 17. Craig was like 16, 15. Mm-hmm. And Rob's all, like, wasn't into the band anymore, you know? Like, they got Paul Bostaff at this time. Because they got Jim Pittman was his best friend, who was Bostaff's cousin. And he couldn't really play, you know, the fast double bass. Mm-hmm. And then Rob comes in one day with a broken arm.
Holy shit.
I'm all, dude, you eating a lot of nachos? Or what's going on, dude? And he's all, no, I broke my arm on a skateboarding. I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
He told me already. He's all, I was on a skateboarding accident and I broke my arm, and all the other band members are all, really? Dude. And they were like, oh my God, okay, just take your time, heal. Yeah. And that's like when they were recording, right?
Yeah.
So he was gone for 3 weeks, and he was jamming with Violence. He didn't want to be in
on the sly,
yeah, on the side. They had a studio in Hayward or some shit.
Before the internet came.
And I'd go watch them over there.
Right.
I was friends with Rob.
Couldn't do that back then.
Yeah. I was friends with Rob.
What happened to your cast?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I knew.
It's like Instagram over here. What are you doing?
I was like the Inside Edition. No.
Yeah,
they didn't have that
I would
shit
have been
back
fucking
then.
with them the whole time.
It's a different world, kids. It's a different world.
So eventually, you know, it came out at the rehearsal one night, and he said he quit. And they went.
Oh, dude, I wonder if Airhead, that's where Airhead's got it. Remember?
Oh,
they were talking about his scars. He was like, yeah, this was from a truck. This one's from a fire hydrant. This is from a trailer. She's like, oh, what happened? He's like, well, I was on my skateboard. I fell off the truck and hit the fire hydrant. And then this is
so he had all their shit down.
Yeah.
And then he's all, okay, I'm out. After he had the shit down. That's brilliant. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Actually, really.
Oh, it's kind of a dickish move, actually.
It's kind of a dickish move.
And then that's when they asked me to join, you know, at a party after that happened. And I'm like, nah, you guys are kids, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Russ is older, but it's cool. And then Rob's all, you know, on the side, you know, I go watch them rehearse. So I watched them rehearse, and I was like in the between.
Yeah,
always in the between, because I love both bands.
Yeah.
Did you ever regret the success that they had?
Never. No. Because I knew they were good.
Yeah.
I mean, we played shows with them.
But you've denied them many of times. Like, that's what I'm like. That's where it's like, all right.
Well, I'm sure they did.
Well, you were like, you know, you're not too good. You know, you don't have the drum set for Paul. You know, you guys are too young, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, just kicking them back. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know, in these bands that are like.
Well, think about it. When you join a band, you're about to be a part of whatever it is that they're doing. And if you don't feel it, like just from meeting somebody, you know, because when you think about joining a band, you're not just joining a group of guys or girls or whatever it is.
Exactly. It's like a marriage.
You're joining a fucking marriage.
It's
a
commitment.
You're joining a brotherhood, a family.
I didn't get along with.
So you didn't mesh with him.
I mean, Craig was like, you know, he was the general at that time. You know? It was like, and me and Rob were like, you know, I could get along with Rob, and Bostaff was like, you know, high and mighty at the time. So I'm like, no, I'll just do my own thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I don't really want to go down that.
Find what works for me.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to feel the connection, not just musically, but also as an individual. If I'm going to play in a band with somebody, I want to be able to shoot the shit with this motherfucker whenever I feel, and not feel like it's forced. You know. Like,
well, like me and Glenn Avelize used to do hella meth together. You know, the old guitar player from Forbidden Evil?
Yeah.
Hella meth, dude. And Rob Flynn and Craig. Yeah. And all those dudes, dude.
I bet trips were quick.
Dude, trips were real quick.
Yeah. We're here already?
But we had the studio, you know?
Right,
the 880. So we had all that, you know? And, you know, I mean, there's so many things.
Well, because I've
you jammed for like 3 days straight.
Yeah,
on that shit. You know.
Well, I try to put her in perspective of like me, because like I've done tours, but like I didn't know what tour life was like. I was just like, I'm gonna play the music, and we have to go here. We have to go here. But there's that in-between time that nobody fucking talks about, right? You're in that fucking van for 8 hours. I got to go up to fucking Washington. You know, I'm going to hit Seattle.
Stay awake with this guy just driving so we don't all die.
This motherfucker is losing his shit.
Sleep behind the wheel. I'm not sleeping.
My best friend is
And this guy's been up for like 3 days.
Right, this guy's been up for 3 days. I'm 3 seconds about jumping out of this fucking sliding door.
Well, that's what
here,
happened with Randy Rhoads.
That
was why he died.
Wait,
The bus driver.
He was like, I'm taking this plane. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Well, he was up for 3 days on cocaine.
Yeah.
And he was like going through a divorce. And he said, you know, that's why
he needed to escape.
Randy didn't like, you know, flying, and Rachel didn't like. But they were.
But when you're high on cocaine, you like everything.
Well, here's what happened. They tried consoling him.
Yeah.
So like, he had a big soul.
Yeah.
Had a big. And he was like Richie Valens. Dude.
Yeah. He was hard.
He hated flying.
Yeah.
Randy Rhoads.
Yeah.
So him and the makeup artist. They said, "Okay, we're going to go up there with you and try to help you out," and he killed him.
Yeah, who the fuck gave him the keys? That's
and then Rudy, and then Tommy Aldridge hid his cocaine.
Oh, really?
From the cops.
Wow. Yeah. Was it in the bus?
No, it was in the ashtray. It was in the ashtray.
Ashtray.
So they wouldn't get busted.
In the plane?
Yeah. No, in the tour bus.
Oh, okay.
He was a tour bus driver.
Oh, right.
He was a tour bus driver.
And he had a pilot's license.
Oh, so that's why he got
his wife wanted to divorce him.
Yeah.
So he knew all this for a long, kept it in.
Right.
So why would you get in a plane with an individual that
did they Uber a fucking plane over there? How the fuck
Randy
did they
got in a plane? Is what I'm asking. Why would Randy, who didn't like flying, get in a plane with an individual like that at the controls?
Exactly.
Was he aware of that?
Yeah,
That's some weird shit.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I'm going to jump out of a plane.
Do
you have a chute? No, we forgot it. It's back in the plane.
Conspiracies now, right?
I just rode over the mountain.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. Well, look at the first 2 albums.
And that's in the Rudy Sarzo book, Off the Rails. Yeah.
There's a lot of documentaries that talk about that.
So again, we come back to like managers and things like that, and things that are shady. All right. So the one I heard about Jimi Hendrix, his manager, was this. Is Jimi Hendrix a couple days before he was about to
Michael Jeffries?
Yeah, he exactly. So the guy, the story was is he got wine and barbiturates that were supposed to be broken into 4 tabs and given to him in a goblet of wine.
This is back at the hotel room in LA?
Yeah, he was about to leave his management and go back to Chaz Chandler of the Animals.
Yep.
Right? Which is a big shift because he needed to clean up his fucking act.
I think this shit happens more than
CIA.
It's actually talked about.
Right.
I think this happens more than it's talked about.
And the story I heard was just 2 years after Hendrix died, he died in a fiery plane crash.
Who?
The said manager.
Yeah, Mike Jeffries. Michael Jeffries.
That he was going
He ran into the
the manager that Hendrix had.
Okay.
Chaz Chandler.
Chaz Chandler was the guy that discovered Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
And Hendrix was going to leave Mike Jeffries to go back to Chaz Chandler. Okay. And I heard the story was that he had him rubbed out. Either that or he was the one that gave the concoction to
what is
to
he in the
Hendrix's
mafia?
girlfriend. I don't know.
He was. He had ties
His
to the mafia.
They're related, dude.
So they were doing 100% that to Hendrix to keep
all those
control over.
100% happened.
Since Elvis, it was the mafia.
Yeah, no, that's
You know, General. What was that guy's name? Colonel
from
Elvis.
The Colonel that was feeding him all the
He started
amphetamines.
it all. Dude, it just evolves.
Yeah.
Wow. It's all the same
It's all
shit
tied,
over and over and over.
Wow.
To this day,
I think that's what I was gonna say. There's still ties to this day. I guarantee it. There's still ties to this day.
Because we're on a ball, like floating in the world. You know?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's the machine. It's the machine. It's in the the history of. I have a book called The History of Heavy Metal, and they talk about the cog machine, where it's so you got these gears, right?
Right. With the 27-year-old.
I was about to bring up that very same subject. The 27-year-old clone.
I'm psychic. Did I tell you?
There you go. So there were the supposedly certain rock stars, Janis Joplin,
he died at 27.
Kurt
27
Cobain.
Club.
Cobain,
Yeah, it's 27 Club.
Right.
Well, the government killed all of them.
Yeah. But why would? What's the benefit of killing them?
That's what I'm saying.
Because they can control
their
with their
voice.
music. They can control everything.
They were changing the
Just
culture,
like Rage
the
Against the
society.
Machine,
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine.
Shut
Those
them
guys
down.
were. Yeah, they were.
Hey,
dude,
guess
Think
what?
about it, though. Think about it, though. Now
they
don't
didn't
have to
kill
pay.
the internet, and that's fucking.
They're
definitely
using
taking it.
But then think
they
about
are
it.
using it though.
They don't have to
deal with the artist anymore.
It's kind of like,
they don't have to pay the artist anymore, and they have to control the catalog so they can do whatever they want with it.
Like Prince.
Yeah.
Prince got murdered.
I don't know if that's what's going on. But you can
hey, what about Michael Jackson? Because he had the Beatles
murdered.
rights too. He had the Beatles rights.
Right. He was murdered, definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
I think it was a 9-year-old.
But he wasn't really into that.
Which one?
I know. I'm just fucking around.
But the idea is
I'm just saying. Look at all the like since Elvis, or
even, I do.
Even look at the Mozart era.
Yeah.
Mozart in the 1700s.
So his patrons had him.
They hated him. They hated Vivaldi. They hated Mozart because he was, a showman.
It was a power. It was a power that they didn't have, and they saw that. They saw it as a threat. So what they did is eliminated the threat.
Right. I don't know about any of that.
It didn't matter though. It didn't matter. But they were in that time
of revolution.
Yeah,
as an era. Where that was,
and that's why it still sticks today.
As an artist, you can move in circles that aren't from your economic background. And
look how good he
was. You can influence people, and that's why they would say that you're dangerous.
Was like Ingve.
Because you can move and influence the royalty.
I don't know if I'd put him.
Well, because your artwork and things moves people. And it moves all people.
It's a power of influence.
It's right, a power of influence.
It's universal.
So maybe that's what they don't like.
Yeah,
whether you're an actor, you're a musician,
actors
have music, any discipline,
sports, acting,
politician.
Drugs and alcohol and die.
Everybody is though.
That's when you get into a position. Everybody is.
Think about it this way.
Well,
think about how many.
I swear.
They are.
How many famous people?
How else are they getting on that red carpet?
Mozart was totally into drugs.
How many famous people are introduced to the drugs, the alcohol, the partying early? They're introduced to it early because they know if I can get a hold
Who's that
on
Lost
you.
Boys? Corey.
That's part of
Feldman.
it.
Yeah,
you have to do it.
Yeah.
If you
Jim Morrison said it best.
Yeah.
I guess you don't understand.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to the 27 Club.
Something to boil your noodle there.
I know. Yeah. We got some people fucking roaming right now, dude.
Bring it on.
If you think about it, it does make sense. I mean, when you're a public figure like these bands were in the 60s, where, it was this huge hippie movement, and whether they were established with it or not, they still gave people voice and gave them an ability
or a
to
new
listen.
direction.
They said it. They said it earlier on. They said that's the internet. That was the internet.
It was.
You guys were influenced. You guys were in there too.
Yeah, and it was done way before us.
Yep.
The 50s. I mean, the Doors of perception, right? Mm-hmm. Come on, dude, that's philosophical. And they he could start a riot.
The way to open your mind,
right?
But the confusion now that's out there right now, people aren't going to latch onto that.
No,
there's too much confusion.
Now it's different.
Yeah. There's too much confusion.
But I'm just saying
it's diluted.
It's diluted.
But
it's on purpose. It's static.
It is on purpose.
Like he was saying, it gravels back to Mozart and Beethoven and all those guys.
Yeah.
Vivaldi was like this rock star violin player that people hated, dude. Paganini, dude. All those dudes.
24 Caprices.
They
kids, go look
him.
that one up.
Yeah, he had pentagrams all around him.
Those people.
Satan.
Yeah.
They were like the same fucking shit.
Right, yeah, no.
And it's an evolution of history repeating itself.
Yep. And I talked to you about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Where people they don't actually dive back into that or
well, because they forget about it.
Well, they do, but it's still there, and other people do. Other people fucking know about that shit.
Forget about it.
Yeah, I wish we didn't know. I really do.
I mean, it's all based on the crossroads, right? Selling your soul to the devil,
right?
Basically, but it goes way beyond that.
Robert Johnson,
the Mozart. I think the Mozart, Beethoven, J.S. Bach, Chopin is where it all started because they were so phenomenal.
Yeah,
musicians, dude.
They were composing shit that people had never heard of, and they were doing it in a way where it was gathering masses and masses of people. And they were the first generation of rock star status. They were people that were put in front of kings and queens and played, and if they didn't perform, they were beheaded. But at the same time, people were influenced by that because they were like, look at these people playing for the kings and queens of this, you know,
the
image. Yeah. And they were giving a voice of like, look, I'm doing what I love and I'm standing out among what they want me to do. I'm going to do what I want. Right. And they're glorifying me for
it. But it was like, okay.
Right?
Yeah. That was post-Renaissance.
Look at the shift. It's not just they started doing this. There was the Dark Ages, and there was a fucking
right.
There was
but there was a lot more.
Yeah, but then there
before the Renaissance.
Before the Renaissance, because they didn't even have the tools to do it.
Well, but you had to think there was a lot more control from the church in those days.
Right.
Before the Renaissance, everything went through the Vatican, the church.
Well, you got to think they can't produce that now. Like all those songs that were written back then.
You can't redo that.
You can't redo that.
People do that every time there's a
not
really.
on that level.
It's like redoing Muddy Waters.
It's not on that level. It will never be on that level.
Never. They were way ahead of us.
No.
Disagree.
I don't.
I disagree.
Have you ever tried to play a Mozart piece?
Bob Marley once said
But there's a difference from copying a Mozart piece to actually performing creating a Mozart esque piece.
Wait. Well, here's the thing about Mozart.
And then skip to another generation.
It's one of my favorite movies.
That is a great one. The Amadeus one.
I'm going to talk about that.
Oh, excellent, dude! Excellent.
That's my point. You're actually getting to my.
Scotty has it.
That's my point. Though.
I'm cool now. I had a really bad.
It'll never get back to that
hard.
point.
I had to go outside for a minute
because we've evolved so much.
But Scotty,
it will never be back to where.
Yeah, I'm good for the rest of the afternoon.
No, there's always going to be more coming.
Down the same level.
I would love to hear.
Here's the thing, bro.
Stick to bowls and water.
We are missing a lot of it.
Missing a lot of it.
What are you going to say, Ariana?
We are getting into the Penteveret.
Yeah.
Penteveret.
Yeah. She the next Beethoven? How about Pink?
It's not done.
But think about the lives these individuals have to live. It's probably not a really good one. It's not a pleasant one.
Symphonies at 5 years old.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
No, well, there's still kids that are fucking performing shit like that at 5 years old.
Yeah. YouTube.
Well, it's not only YouTube, but there's these people that are born into that.
I know, because they're... What's all I'm trying to tell you? It's... They are them. When these people, come back and they're writing their
This sounds like some Dr. Seuss stuff.
No, it's like... It's reincarnation, dude.
Right, yeah.
You could look at it that way.
Yeah, if you really believe in that.
You think of born again, their minds have jumped to other minds
or a consciousness that just is out there and moves and influences.
You're saying it all wrong.
I know. I'm taking this way darker, deeper here.
It's in the body of a 5-year-old Chinese boy right now.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But it is. That's why.
See?
I'll go with the literal mind. He's not speaking German.
I mean, I even had a psychic do a reading on me. Said I was using 30% of Mozart's ability in a past life. Mm-hmm. Past lives. And I mean, think about it. How many lives can he live?
Well,
nobody knows.
Infinite number?
Many.
People could guess. You cannot know. You don't know.
Never know, right?
You don't know.
Our ability to understand our own consciousness.
Do you remember your life before this life?
Yes, I do.
You do.
Many. I was
How many mushrooms did you eat?
How much DMT did you take?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is we're going into
this
a different.
This is before that.
Tapping into this right now.
All right, this is before
turn.
that.
See, this is where now it's his turn.
Yeah,
this is cool.
No, I'm just saying,
man.
Yeah.
Hey, Scotty, man, good.
On a Socrates and all that shit, philosophical shit.
Socrates.
Yeah, Socrates, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Keanu Reeves, for the English lesson.
Okay, we've had 5 worlds, right? Living on this planet. This is the 5th world we're living in right now.
Explain what's the 5th? How we get into the 5th here?
Because it's like the Roman Empire.
Okay.
Basically.
Are you considering that
levels
one?
of civilization?
What's the start?
Yeah.
The 4th turning, right? Are you talking about
No, it's the 5th world.
Something like the Hopi thing with the blue star, the fifth age.
So what you've got the initial the caveman era, and then what came after the Egyptian.
No, I don't even think he's talking about that. I think he's talking about way before.
No, there's 5 worlds, and then the Great Hopi Indian Purification.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm Indian.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's what I was.
So I believe in that.
Okay.
You know.
So you ate a lot of peyote.
Never ate peyote.
Smoked it though.
Did a lot of acid. Did a lot of mushrooms.
You hit the white man's drug. That's fucked up.
I've been doing acid. I've been doing acid since I was 13 years.
Yeah.
First time I tripped was on acid and mushrooms.
Did you see visions? So I'm gonna guess you just
No.
saw visions.
Carlos Castaneda.
No, I was listening to Gamma, Ronnie Montrose, actually.
Really?
Yeah, great guitar player, musician.
Great album.
Yeah.
Really?
But anyway.
Sammy Hagar.
I'm trying to. So I'm trying to get it. Are you talking about layers? Do you believe in the underground people?
No.
Okay.
The lizard people.
Well, it's not no, because there's two different sides of that.
You're
There's
gonna be
lizard
totally
people. And that's actually on
flabbergasted,
top. That's actually on top of us. But there's the layers that they talk about.
Right. No, I mean, like, if I heard the story was with the Hopi Indians, they talk about mankind rose and fell. As technology every time was like more superior each time,
The
right?
Industrial Revolution.
Right, and then
This
like
is how we got Easter Island and
Great
fucking-
Cataclysm or
This goes
something
back
like
to
that.
the
Yeah, so it talks about
Jim Morrison days.
well, they talk about like in the end of like the fourth or fifth age, there'd be like a blue star that would appear.
Right.
And the Hopis had these Indians. They have these little dolls down in the Southwest. If you're ever down there, called I think the Kachingas or something like that.
Okay.
And they're embodiments of these spirits. And they talk about like they do this dance, and basically it's the constellation, the stars above us that predict what's happening. And they said that basically like I said, the world's been basically destroyed and rebuilt like 4 or 5 times.
Like the Mayans.
So that's where you're getting to. It was,
2012.
Yeah, we're approaching that age. Apparently.
No, we
okay.
already have
Stories I've
approached
heard.
that age.
Right.
2012 calendar.
I was like, is there a calendar or something to this? Like,
yeah, it was
Well,
something to do
that's
with
when
that.
it all began.
with
Now,
the calendar.
Yeah, you notice like you go to the grocery store, people are more violent and shit like that.
It's more chaotic out there.
It's like a magnet. We're like in a magnet right now, and people are just so like the gas prices and the government. And
I don't think the magnet's doing that.
Yeah, it is.
Joe Biden.
It's Joe Biden. Yeah, let's be honest here.
No, it's all politicians.
Well, it's everybody. Yeah, it's everybody because everybody's losing.
But is it by design, or is it just by just a situation causing it? Just the shit's out of control,
Well, people,
or is it
that's what I'm trying to say. Everybody.
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears?
Yeah.
Britney Spears might be.
That, you know what? There might be
For
something
sure,
to that,
Britney
Scotty.
Spears.
I would believe that right about now.
Is there something going on today?
Not today.
I don't know.
You don't mean today. Just in general.
Other than this has been fun, man.
Scott's
Jolte's
talking to us
Britney
from the fourth
Spears fan.
dimension here.
The other world.
He's in. They're still back in the third world.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, conspiracy talk.
I got a text that said talked about something today. It just said Scott.
Yeah, what's
Scott.
What's happening?
Okay, first of all,
What is happening in today's time?
Kill on Command is playing tonight.
Kill on Command.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Kill
that's
on
right.
Command.
Is that that show?
Local band.
It's a house party,
Where's
isn't
that
it?
at?
It's a house party.
oh, Richard Tom.
White Town. Yeah, Rich Tom.
I remember that crazy motherfucker.
He's still crazy. He's still little.
Yep.
2 people died
So awesome.
in
No,
that
no,
band.
He was.
Who?
2 of his former bandmates died
And two, they-
drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
21
Ones we've
years,
played?
right? Remember that?
Yes.
Who?
The band
No,
that's
the
tonight.
guitar player.
The guitar.
One
Wow.
was the guitar
Love
player,
that band.
The second one was the drummer.
See, I've been around longer than you
Right?
think.
Right? Is that am I right?
Yep.
How long ago?
Yeah.
Now, how long
Yeah,
ago
how
was
long
this?
Died from alcohol poisoning
Wow.
constantly.
Yeah.
There were actually 7 churches.
Oh, back. Oh, so before
We
Kill on
played with
Command.
7 churches a lot.
Oh, yeah.
We had them support us a lot.
Steve Smith says it goes Jays, Bach, Paganini, Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, all innovative.
Steve who?
Yeah.
Steve.
Steve
Yeah,
Smythe.
Steve in the chat.
Steve Smythe?
Yeah.
No, Smith. Smythe. I'm calling him Steve Smythe.
Smythe's different.
Steve Smythe.
Smythe.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's a good list. I would agree with it for sure.
I got more. I got more, dude.
Oh yeah, keep going. Let's
Yeah.
hear some more stories, man. These are great.
I got more, bro.
Yeah, you're a fucking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even started yet. Dude.
We're in a whole other dimension.
Yeah.
First band for Rob Flynn was called Inquisitor.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before
now we're getting the good stuff.
Forbidden Evil. Never talks about that. Wow. They're called Inquisitor, and they got the name from Raven.
Oh.
Raven.
The band?
Yeah, the band Raven.
Awesome.
Yeah. They were totally into Raven because I turned them on to all that shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I turned them on to
Canada, not everything. Yeah. Well, they're British? Always, they're Canadian, but they're
that's where you got your tape from.
Awesome.
Good friends with John Gallagher.
Just a monster bass.
So I turned all those guys on, like I said, with the demo tape. And I said, hey, you guys ever heard of Angel Witch? Though? What's that? What's an Angel Witch?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys ever heard of like Venom? Like, what's that?
Yeah.
So Jim Pittman was the main messenger, the original drummer for Forbidden Evil. And he told Rob Flynn about it, and like at high school.
Really?
Because nobody knew about that shit at high school.
Yeah.
They listened to Billy Squire.
Yeah.
Journey.
Right.
You know, shit like that.
Yeah.
And I'm into Venom, dude.
Yeah.
Venom. Wearing pentagrams. You know?
Yeah, you'd make your own shirts back then.
A couple years before.
Not Dire Straits?
Dire Straits. REO Speedwagon.
Yeah.
And they're all like, you're bad.
You're bad.
You're evil.
You're the devil.
Right?
Because you'd make your own stuff a lot of times. Sometimes you could go to some merch shops that were really cool, you know, but a lot of times you had to make it yourself. So you kind of, you would get out the paint, you get out the patch, and you would just paint it yourself.
Yeah.
You know, or you would do it for your friends. You'd have one of your friends, you would do it, and you'd like, here's some weed, or
I know.
So at the end
I've never seen one Bob Ross.
At the
right, they don't have to be.
Of the street, Washington High School was Craig Cicero.
Yeah.
That was into that shit, And I was telling Rob Flynn about that with his buddy, and then they never talk about that.
Really? Yeah.
No. It's always like this Chinese guy that introduced me, and
I think they have a lot on their mind. I don't think it's hard to. Do you remember every single detail that happened?
Yeah, I ruled that town, dude.
Even on all that meth?
I wasn't even doing meth then.
Oh. Never mind. That was later then.
I was a young kid. I was like,
you were. This was 16
19 years old. I was 2 years older than all those guys. They weren't even out of high school yet.
This is all done by
you're talking. You went back then. You went back. I was thinking we were ahead here.
Yeah. It's like when they first formed Forbidden Evil.
Yeah, and so Forbidden Evil is before it just. So why did it change just to Forbidden?
Well, you know where they got the name Forbidden Evil from, right? From a Slayer lyric off Hell Awaits.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then they just changed it after that. So that was the only reason why they changed it. They were like, well, let's just shorten this and change it.
The company didn't want to, like Death Angel. They didn't want to.
They stepped in and said you have to change up a little bit, right?
Oh, like on the title, right, for selling
names,
for selling purposes.
Yeah, so that's why they changed Forbidden.
Oh, okay.
To Forbidden,
right?
Like Forbidden Evil rules.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. That's why you keep.
I was all, you guys are a bunch of fags.
Yeah,
I'm all fags.
Yeah,
but that's when the big major labels were starting to like look at the thrash bands differently. Like they could be marketable.
Yeah.
And so the thrash bands were like, hey, well, we'll play ball.
But I was like the older brother.
Why wouldn't you?
Back at the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's good that you were advising them, and I'll keep it metal, keep it dark.
Well, so on that era, one of the things that I've always wondered, from people of that era and that time frame, when it came to like the music that was coming out, you had like the American bands, you had the Germany bands, you had the European, British bands.
Yeah.
In your guys' opinion, who would you feel like made a huge impact in the music that we listen to today?
Creator.
Yeah, great German thrash band
German?
for sure.
Creator.
Yeah.
Destruction. Angel Witch. Voivod.
Yep.
Celtic Frost.
Celtic Frost. Ooh, do you even
at that time? Celtic Frost is probably one of the biggest bands before they went poser-esque.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't the lead singer
wasn't that the Cherry Orchards debacle?
Morbid Tales.
Morbid Tales. Cherry Orchards.
Hey, the singer or the guy who got busted in the Capitol building.
No, it's Cannibal Corpse.
No, he was in Celtic Frost. They put it on. It was all over.
Oh, Martin Ain.
That's the bass player.
That was the bass player?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he got busted for raping a child?
No, he broke into the Capitol.
What?
Jesus.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Really?
This just in.
What Michael Jackson say to the Catholic priest?
Now.
Holy shit. Okay.
You guys hear that joke? What Michael Jackson say to the priest? I saw him first.
Oh, harsh.
Yeah, we're all going now.
Yeah.
But anyway,
front of the line.
That's what happens in this life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he broke into the Capitol building. He got fucking busted. He was on
I
camera.
did not know
Poor
that.
bastard.
Yeah.
Was he like that whole thing that happened in during like
Kind of
January?
like Bill Cosby.
It was
I just wanted
election
to see
year.
the statues.
You mean on the
I just wanted to beat it.
The guy with the fucking buffalo outfit.
Really? I had no
that
idea.
dude.
Yeah.
He just said I wanted to beat it.
Well, he was there.
He
was breaking some shit.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
I had no idea.
Are you ready for the hot pepper challenge?
Oh.
Yes.
We got a question from Scott here. It said, well, first of all, you guys seen it all. Jeff, what are you doing now?
I'm in a band called Cyanate.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of him.
Never heard.
Never heard of that. Is that a local band or something?
I think that drummer's a fag.
Great band.
Drummer is a band.
Yeah.
Drummer's a total fag.
Yeah.
Guitar players.
You just have a problem with drummers. I think you can say that to every single drummer.
Right?
The guitar player's a Kerry King wannabe.
Yeah.
It's like hitting skins.
And then Ron, you just went through a surgery too, right? A real major surgery. And what are you doing now too?
Basically, I've come out to Reno, recovering from major spinal surgery. I had lost the use of both of my arms and hands, and basically I had my spinal cord crushed in 2 places. It was developed either congenital and sometimes just moving, doing things, making a living. Mm-hmm. So yeah, basically I'm slowing down. I'm recovering. I can play the bass now. Mm-hmm. Which is good because, like, as any musician knows, that getting anything back at all is good for the soul. Yeah. And like when I touched down here, the first person I ran into was Scotty. And like I said, it was like just running into somebody, a musician, and then going in and playing music with somebody was one of those healing things that you could experience. Yeah. And with a good
he's
friend.
the best person to run into right away.
He's
too.
the mayor of Reno, I would say. You know what I'm saying? Probably by far.
I would say he's a staple here.
Yeah. I was down to maybe 12% in one hand and probably 18% in the left.
Yeah.
But I had a good neurosurgeon. And basically, you just have to work on it. It's painful. I'm not going to lie. But you can get it back. And any musician that suffers from any kind of injury like that, just keep pressing on that. As far as music, I'm just working on playing like, anesthesia, a couple different places. Yeah. Trying to really build those chops back to where I can be back and, being productive and working,
Yeah.
I've accepted a small job in Reno working at a bioscience company, building basically alternative feed.
No shit.
Yeah, to help out the agricultural companies.
Wow.
So we'll see how that works out. It's a big job, but we'll see. Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a fertilizer. It's fertilizer, but you got to start somewhere, right?
Right.
So if you start at the bottom, right?
I feel much better.
So that's a great way of looking at it. Right?
Well, to tell you the truth, I like people.
It's great.
And I hate
Killing
animals.
me, Jim. I can't do it.
That is fucking great.
I hate animals and I like people.
Oh my god! But I like animals.
That's all I gotta
hate
say.
people.
Fuck animals. I will choke an animal right now to death.
No, we were talking about that yesterday. I said, "Give me the club, I'll do it."
Yes, I'll club a motherfucker.
He's like, "I already did. Give me another one."
Damn it! Damn.
So I wrote a
some
song the other day.
Damn.
This isn't blanket here.
Yeah.
So anyway, as I was saying, I hate everybody. But I like animals.
You were walking by at the right time. We got you in here.
I love animals. They make me happy. Fuck people. I mean animals. I mean I hate everybody.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, right?
But what
I really love animals.
But what I was trying to say was I would never choke an animal.
Damn,
or a person.
Oh, okay.
Just I hate people.
Right? Got flagged across so many different
You might want to give a refund for the guy you're doing a teaching for.
But when I'm trying to say I hate everybody.
Yeah.
But that one dog's cool.
It's elite. Deplatform.
I don't like people.
I think we're there.
I think
we're fucking there.
So what I'm trying to say is,
I'm gonna die here, dude. You gotta keep that. That's good.
The prostituting chicken.
Yeah.
Taiwan.
In Taiwan.
Here, take this.
So one day
We're
This is
in
what
all
happens
those
when you
notches.
introduce psychedelics. Hard alcohol.
One day I'll be a star,
One day.
and one day I'll be a pedophile. Don't want to say that.
Oh my
Where's Bill
God.
Cosby?
Oh my God.
Yeah, we lost all those other resources that we
exactly.
had.
There goes all
Thank
your
you.
sponsors.
Thanks for coming out tonight, folks.
Just kidding.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, you're definitely after that.
Up next, we're playing on PBS.
That's right.
You thought Charles Manson was edgy.
Yeah. Gigi Allen ain't got nothing on us.
Right?
It's okay on CNN. We'll just move over.
Yeah, let's move over to CNN.
Delete that shit.
Delete that shit.
Another segment that we like to do on this show, and we've done it with many of our guests that we've had on here. We like to do our Mount Rushmore. Mike, would you like to establish for us?
Now let Robert go first, then I'll correct it.
All right.
Am I doing the
All
rules?
right. Yeah. What are the rules of the Mount Rushmore?
Remember the rules.
Hey, go ahead and do the rules.
All right, so the rules are there are no rules.
It's Fight Club.
I'm going Fight Club on this. All right, first rule is you don't talk about Dark Figures podcast. Anyways, all right, so Mount Rushmore, 4 bands or musicians that have influenced you to where you are at now. It could be either one.
You got to group them as a band, or you could do it as
group
the
them as a
individual artist
band,
from
or
the
you.
band.
This is too complicated.
I was about there, and then Ryan was like, you know what, you're not fucking doing this. He loves his fucking voice.
So simply,
dude.
it has to be 4 musicians.
No,
or 4 bands.
Well, when you think of so yeah, your top
I ain't
4,
signed no wage.
your top 4 influences.
influences.
I ain't signed
now on one's life as I stand now.
Either how they're, if they're dead or alive, doesn't matter.
Dead or alive, musician or band.
That's easy.
I would say, well, for
Lemmy, Gio, Ozzy.
Hold on.
Lemmy's the first one because he
You're-
persevered all the way to the end. He didn't give up.
Okay.
Right. Cliff Burton, obviously, because he basically took a nerdy element to the bass and it basically exploded it all open for us.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So it made it more just, you weren't just the dumb guy in the band anymore. You could do more with it.
Yeah.
Right? Then I would say, where it gets weird is, okay.
All right, you know,
he agrees.
involved there.
Well, no.
Should have
right?
did Jeff first.
Right.
I think we need more cowbell.
Jolty, you need to settle down on that.
I got that one.
Okay.
I get that, right? But then again, you got like Geezer Butler, right? Another influence, bass player. But then is that you can be a gentleman.
He's not dead, though.
He doesn't
He doesn't
have
have to be live
Doesn't
or
have to
dead.
be.
Yep.
He just basically was a gentleman and basically shows how it can be done.
shrooms,
And whenever, well, not necessarily. I had too much
Yeah.
shrooms earlier.
Yeah.
But
You're
if
good
you just
now.
needed my top
No,
4,
I'm
I would
saying
tell you
me.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
I'm not saying you.
I'm sorry.
I'm
But
talking
Liam-
to homeboy over
Lemmy,
here. Is-
Geezer.
oh,
Right. And then, okay, so let me get Cliff Burton.
Cliff Burton.
Okay.
never heard of that guy.
Right. And then I would say Joni Mitchell.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
It's not a left field.
It is a left
Because
fielder. That's
the
a-
talent that she brought around her. She had Jaco Pastorius, the great bass player.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Jocko?
Yeah.
I remember that guy. I played with.
So it's like that's my left field. Every musician has that one, like Neil Diamond or whatever, right?
We have them.
I would say that would be it.
Huh.
About you, Jeff.
All right, Jeff.
Bass player, musician.
This shit's easy.
Yeah.
I hate everybody.
There it is.
I have no influence.
Burps don't count as
I
one.
think Cliff Burton's No, I like.
Yeah.
Here's what I like.
I gotcha.
Here's what I like.
Influences.
Randy Hansen was the best musician I ever met in my life.
I love the Hanson brothers.
Is this we're talking?
Yeah. Yeah. Ouch.
That's a good one.
But all right, so Randy Hanson. All right.
Okay.
I love Kerry Fling. He's a cool dude. The guy in Slayer. Good dude.
The guy at Slayer.
And I hate that guy that's in Megan Snot. That guy gets on my nerves. That one guy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Which one?
That one dude, man. He has a lot of problems, that guy. He's always chugging.
He's always chugging.
I don't know his name, but anyway, he's not cool. But I like
Tommy the Train.
I like that guy. I like that guy, James Hetfield's cool.
Yeah,
he's cool.
I almost forgot his name.
I like Kirk. He's cool.
Yeah.
I like that spaghetti sausage ingredient called Kirk Hammett.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty good. And Death Angel.
I was going for rigatoni.
Oh.
Yeah, that guy's cool.
Rigatoni.
Yeah.
Exodus rules. That's all I gotta say.
Exodus rules.
Yeah, probably the best beer, man.
Oh shit! I never laughed this much on a podcast.
Yeah,
Jeff, you literally got me fucking dying.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Things. I love it.
Well, fucking A. Thank you guys so much for being on this podcast.
Yes, thank you.
This has been.
We're gonna have you on again because I guarantee you guys have more stories.
I got way more.
I know you do.
We know that.
Yeah.
So fucking tell us about fucking what is your fucking shit with cyanide, Robert? Hi, Robert.
Yes, Robert. Tell us more.
Tell us what.
Plug your shit.
What do we do? Yeah. Oh, next. Is it this coming week?
Yeah, you guys have shows coming up.
Know when his show is.
Dude, I'm a fucking drummer, dude. You just sit me behind a fucking drum kit, dude. You let me do my shit.
Just tell me when I have to move my kit.
My job is to fucking bang on things, and then that's it. Like it's. Do you want me to remember fucking dates here? Like,
yes.
Right.
Yes, I expect you to remember.
Okay. Yes, this coming week.
Just guess it.
It's Spring Meltdown, so it's going to be up in Tahoe. It's supposed to be at the American Legion Hall, but that's at a guess right now, I think. But yeah, so Cyanide is playing with a bunch of other bands. It's a 3-day festival, actually, so there's like fucking 30 bands. I think there's like 30 bands on this show. But it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Keep Tahoe brutal.
Yeah, so it's a Spring Meltdown. Josh Leese puts it on every year. The guy's phenomenal. He's a great guy. We'll be up there this Friday. We're gonna go up Friday. That's our date that we're gonna go up there. I don't think Jeff's gonna be ready. He still might be recovering from this podcast.
27th through 29th.
It's the 27th through the 29th. Thank you, Scott.
Also go.
So yeah, go check that out. Also, Killing Command is playing tonight at a house party in Y-Town. If you're in Yerington, go ahead and go down there and check it out. Check them out.
Yeah. I like anal sex.
And Jeff likes anal sex. That's a great ending.
Check us out next week. We'll be here for episode 19. Tune in. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys. Cheers.
Adios.
Salute.
Salute, brother. Salute.